That's all we do. You said you watched the episode the recent one we just did with Will, right? The last
Yeah,
one Will was
I did.
on, so,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that because you have no idea how many people I've had be like, "Oh yeah, I love your show. I listen to it all the time." They come on, and then I'm like, "Hey, spit or swallow," and they're like, "Excuse me." And it's like, you
I've
told me
witnessed
listen.
that a few times. It's very entertaining.
Is this only on Twitch, or do you do it live on YouTube at the same time too?
Twitch, YouTube, and technically Twitter.
Okay.
So it was live on Facebook, but I noticed that Will was doing stuff on Twitter. A few people were sharing to Twitter instead, and they were getting more views during the show. So I figured I'd switch over to Twitter from Facebook because outside of old people like me and you, I don't think anyone really uses Facebook anymore. So
yeah.
Hey, Katie, see if you can share it to the calf because it's still not coming up.
Okay.
Which is weird. But yeah, no. It was YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook, and now it's Facebook or YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, which I fucked up last week. Last week, I was on Facebook, Twitter, and just YouTube, and I forgot Twitch, and I had to end the Facebook one and add Twitch right before we started the show or mid-show, so that was fun.
You did a pre-show because I watched the whole live.
So, things happen, mistakes get made, buttons get pushed.
That's why we get paid the big bucks, right?
Yeah, I wish. Oh, I wish.
Same.
I did a show with Wrestling with the Truth where we talked horror movies. Me, Jay, and BC Hunter talked Halloween and all sorts of fun shit. And I've been in talks with Jay for one of our trivia episodes for Getting Off coming up. So that'll be a good time. Yeah.
I mentioned this to him tonight, but he just gets his daughter back on Friday, so it's usually he wants to spend some time with her. But yeah.
Understandable.
But that was a couple years ago during our November to Remember. You came on, yeah.
It was a good time.
It was, yeah.
It's weird it took me this long to. Well, I think because normally you guys cover past stuff, I didn't know how much of the current stuff you were watching, so I was like, I'm not gonna force them to sit through the slog of whatever the fuck was going on at the time, Like you even asked me, do I have to watch AEW? And absolutely not. It's whatever you watch this week. We kind of changed the format to that because I think back then I was still just running down every show, match for match, moment for moment. It was rough.
Yeah, that's tough.
I did that too. Not fun. This way's way more entertaining.
Yeah, it really is. And I like it because you get a mix, right? So I've got friends that watch TNA, so they'll come on and they'll talk TNA. Will comes in and he's like, "Oh, indie mud show bullshit." I was at this show, this and that. Or Will talk NWA because he's the only person that watches the NWA.
There's 5 people who watch NWA and Will's one of them.
And Allison's too.
Exactly.
I used to watch when Cornette was doing it. That's how long ago I watched NWA.
Wow. That was a long time ago. But so I guess I'll run the intro. I will introduce everybody and we will get the show rolling.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I listen to all my friends that Smack It Raw.
Following podcast contains mature content. The views and opinions expressed by the host are not necessarily those of the host. Listener discretion is advised. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the #1 wrestling podcast on places where you can find people having sex on the internet, the Smackin It Raw podcast. I am your host, the patron saint of podcasting, the Warden Matt Ritter, and I am here this evening with my co-host. She is host of the She League Showcase, Inside the Mind Up, In the Crowd, and Storytime with Miss Katie Kinsey, baby.
Hey.
Almost got fired from getting off on trivia, but she won, so she's still here. Proud of her.
Fuck you, by the way.
And joining us here for the very first time, and I promised I would be gentle and use a lot of Vaseline, from the Wrestling with the Truth podcast, it is BC Hunter. BC Hunter, how's it going?
Very good. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it. We'll see if I don't mess things up too bad for you.
I think you'll be fine. So we talked. You and I have worked together before. We did an episode over at Wrestling with the Truth that was really fun. And I was like, you know what? I had some stuff going on. I thought of Jay, and I'm like, I haven't had these guys on. Let me reach out and see what they're doing, if they're free. And you were down to come on. So I was like, fuck yeah, let's do this.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate it. Yeah, that was a couple of years ago, and that one was more up Jay's alley because that was intentional that we wanted to talk more horror than wrestling because he's like just as big a horror freak as you are. So it was just comical just to sit back and kind of say nothing and watch you guys go to town, just talking about Necronomicons or whatever the hell it was.
In there.
And now the spotlight is on you. Jay is not here, and I'm going to ask you to spit or swallow about 15 times, if not more tonight. You know, it's going to be a good day. Nice. But I want to thank everyone who's joining us. If you're joining us live at twitch.tv/Creation World, when I can find the, there it is. Oh, Katie had it. Twitch.tv/Creation World, where if you have Amazon Prime, you have Prime Gaming. If you have Prime Gaming, you get a free subscription every month when you link it to your Twitch account, which means it costs you absolutely nothing to give us your sub. It comes out of Amazon's pocket. It costs you nothing. It helps support our show. We appreciate it. But listen, if you're like, yeah, you know what, these Smackin It Raw, I'm not really. Katie has her show over on Twitch where she talks women's wrestling and highlights women's wrestling. You guys can go check that out. Our friend Will over at Botch Spots and Chair Shots, they have that whole Rivet City Radio network with a bunch of really fun stuff like trivia, even though this last one was a personal insult to me. But they've got trivia. Katie is the trivia champion over there. They've got Botch Spots and Chair Shots. They've got the Boom. They've got everything, at that network. So it's variety packed. The point is, if you're already using Amazon Prime, use that subscription to support a fellow Twitch streamer, podcaster, someone that's a content creator, because we're doing this for fun. You talked about it. That's why we get paid the big buck. We don't get paid shit, right? Like, we're just doing this to entertain you. So any little bit of support helps us continue to do that and makes us feel good about coming on and doing it every week. And I appreciate it. Tickle my balls a little bit. Make me feel good. You guys can also check us out at youtube.com/Creation World, where it is free to like, to subscribe, to comment. Katie, what does that do?
Boost the algorithm and helps find new listeners.
That is correct. And Katie, why is that important?
Well, I mean, you're a whore, so...
I am, ladies and gentlemen, for your entertainment. I am a whore for your likes, for your comments, for your subscriptions, for your interaction. I have gone topless. I have done all sorts of things just to get your attention because I need it. I love it. I want it. It fuels me. That's why we do this shit. I don't even really like wrestling. I just like people paying attention to me. And this was the easiest thing to talk about. No, but for real, please, again, like, subscribe, comment. It costs you absolutely nothing. It helps more people find us, and I want more people to find us because, as Katie said, I am a whore. I want your mom to find me. I want your dad to find me, your cousins, your sisters, your brothers, your step siblings, step parents, aunts, uncles, friends, everyone to have to experience what I bring to the podcasting world, and our guests specifically, because maybe my brand of wrestling isn't for you, but we have someone here like BC Hunter who, has a good knowledge of both the past and present and a different take, and you like that, and you're like, all right, cool. Well, by coming and more people checking us out, then they check him out, and then they go check out his show, and it helps them as well. That's why we do these collaborations, right? That's the point of working with other people. So you get a variety of wrestling opinions and things to enjoy. It's not just my bullshit every week, but you should enjoy my bullshit every week. And last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, creationworld.com. Go there, and it gets you links to everything. It gets you links to our merch. It gets you links to our Patreon, which we'll talk about later. It gets you links to the audio, to the video, which still technically you guys can check out at Pornhub.com/model/creation world, which is my favorite place for you to watch us. Because we are still the number one wrestling podcast on Pornhub until we move over to a different porn platform because Pornhub is difficult. But anyway, if you go there, you get the links to all of that, right? You find everything. Maybe you just like listening in the car. I do that a lot. I listen to a lot of podcasts while I'm driving around the car. Maybe you don't want to watch the video. Maybe you only like video versions, but you want to sit at your computer or your phone and watch us. We got that for you. Maybe you're like, hey, that logo that Vince made is really fucking cool. I want that. Go get a shirt with it on. Like, we've got stuff for you. Go do these things. That's what we do here. But I've talked enough. Katie, it's news and rumor time.
It is news and rumors time. There's not a lot because, not a lot actually happened. UFC and WWE are coming together for a collaboration for NXT Battleground at the UFC Apex, which is in Vegas. It's going to take place June 9th. Your biggest fan is here.
Yes, Chris from Heels for Life is here. Just so you know, I get hit on a lot, mostly by men in the chat, so be prepared.
Oh, he gets hit on more than any time I've ever been on a show. It's kind of crazy.
Seems appropriate.
Yeah, it works.
Chris.
I'll take it. Go ahead. So this will be the first time that anything WWE related will be in a UFC compound complex type place. So that's kind of cool that they're both owned by the same person now. So might as well.
I kind of want to see them do it in the UFC ring, though. Like, do it in the octagon.
I'm in.
Yeah.
Want to see Shayna Baszler in the octagon doing something.
Right?
Yeah.
Because we do have that spring break, and next week we have the NXT Underground match. Shayna's training Lola, and then Natty's got Carmen Petrovich training her. Yep. So good precursor. I miss one of my favorite things, even though the person that I hate the most in wrestling was very prominent. One of my favorite things from NXT was the fight pit. And I kind of miss that. So
it was a cool setup. Yeah.
But
this is no shock too, because there's going to be so much synergy with UFC and WWE now. So I'm not surprised they're starting out with NXT to just kind of work their way in there.
Yeah. And a precursor to, Mania possibly being in Vegas next year, since they haven't fucking announced anything yet.
Yeah. Undertaker did.
Undertaker said, "Oh, it's gonna be in Vegas," and then he's like, just kidding." It's like, man, I mean, we all wanted to be there. I don't want to be in fucking Minnesota or Minneapolis, wherever the fuck they were in. No. I lived through Philly's bullshit. I want somewhere hot. I want to be outside, laying in the sun, and then going in a nice, cool stadium, and I don't have to be bothered if I go.
Any idea what number around UFC they'll be at by the time WrestleMania rolls around? How many do they do a year?
See, this is where it would be nice to have Kyle around, because Kyle would have that information.
Yeah, I was even going to say like TC and Reek probably know too.
Bakley, you're still in the chat. You keep up on MMA and tell me things. Bakley, what number UFC event will they be on around the time of NXT?
Be interesting to see if it's like a big one.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't follow UFC enough to figure that all out.
I know they just had 300, so yeah.
I'm also curious if some of the UFC fighters are going to show up.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
Probably.
If we do like a UFC invasion of NXT.
Nice to see a little implosion of Lola and Shayna though, and have them in a octagon setting though. That'd be pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
But everyone's going in the octagon. I don't care if you've experienced or not. You're going in. Duke it out that way.
Especially Metaphor.
Metaphor in the octagon.
Metaphor versus the new quarter catch crew in the octagon. There we go.
Okay. You mean Baby Regal and Friends?
Yes.
That's their name. How dare you? Two people who won't show up in an octagon, unless they get hired by UFC. Von Wagner was released. This was kind of after that long list of releases from last week. Von Wagner, and then Cameron Grimes, who posted the saddest video. He was so upset. Yeah. That one hurt. I was like, that sucks, especially because he was just told his job was secured 5 days before he got fired.
Yeah. That's really rough. It reminded me of Drake Maverick.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
that one was sad.
that was. But he did get called back. He got to do some things for a little while. I honestly completely forgot that he existed until right now in this moment when I said that. So, but he was a thing.
Right.
He did exist.
He did exist.
He had a wedding.
To Renee Michelle, yeah. 24/7.
At least he wasn't
bullshit.
fired on his wedding. At least, yeah.
Yeah.
True.
I know a guy from around where I live that happened to. But
Yeah, something
way.
happened there. Yeah,
Nah,
it worked out in the end, though. It worked out in the end for him.
Vince has been sending me all of these, like, somebody on TikTok has been taking CM Punk interviews and like animating them. So it's like CM Punk animation with the interview overlay in the background, and they're fucking hilarious. He's just sending them to me on TikTok every day.
Is that the Ace of Steel stuff or whatever?
So part of it was the Colt Cabana interview.
Yeah, okay.
Where he talked about Ryback and shit, and then another one, I forget what he was talking about. It was like him doing stand up or something, talking about something in Ring of Honor with Tony Atlas, like telling him, "Oh, you know, you're never going to get over taping your wrist like that." Meanwhile, he's the ECW champion and he's got the belt in his bag. Like, you're never going to make it to TV, kid. And he's like, "I'm on TV. What are you talking about? Like,
I'm on television weekly. What do you mean? It's crazy.
So
Love that. King and Queen of the Ring is coming back. The tournament finals will take place in Saudi. That's their Saudi show for this year. I think they're only having one, possibly two. Saturday, May 25th. So about a month away. Big Goon, King of the Ring.
Yeah. They need to do something with that format, because go back to like their challenge in that SummerSlam or something like that. I know me and Jay a long time ago on our podcast came up with this whole elaborate thing that it should be the tournament and the winner, instead of getting the crown, actually gets a title. And basically they defend that title through the whole year. And if they are holding it at the end of the year, they now challenge the champion at the next King of the Ring, and they relinquish the title at that point. If they lose the title through the year, whoever's holding the title at that King of the Ring, they get the chance to fight the champion. Just make it more intriguing instead of this whole stupid crown thing. But yeah, something needs to change.
Or even like you said, like we do Royal Rumble, where the winner of the Royal Rumble faces the champion at WrestleMania. So the winner of King of the Ring could face the champion at SummerSlam. Like,
yeah,
some stakes to it.
Yeah, exactly. Although Gunther almost sounded like he was alluding to that, because he said, I then get to pick what champion I want. Yeah.
Which is, I mean, yes. Big Goon.
Yes. There's a lot of stuff happening in WWE right now that I am really hoping goes the way I want it to.
Right.
And one of them we will talk about because it happened on Friday. And I need them to lock some things in and make me some fucking guarantees about brand splits and make me happy. Yeah. So we'll see. We will see.
We'll see. Both of you too soon.
Yeah, I know.
Bold, Matt.
I haven't had to bitch about the brand split in like 2 years. All right.
Because you gave up bitching about it because
it just doesn't exist. But if they tell me it's back and it's real again, then I can start bitching about it when they don't adhere to it.
They won't adhere to it. They won't. You know they won't.
They need to. All this is in place. We've set some precedents. We can arrest some people for showing up on the wrong show. Like, we can do things. Like, let's make this work.
We can even have the general managers fight each other. Like, They both wrestle. And we can do that. That's also a Survivor Series match. General manager with general manager. I'm okay with that.
Right. Hell yeah.
That'd be kind of cool.
I want Nick Aldis to be a champion at some point.
That'd be kind of cool.
We are going to talk about figures of power booking themselves into shows today. So Vince, no, Collision's not even over yet, but you're the one that made the thumbnail and you know what's going on. Don't give me shit from the comments. All right. I don't watch the NBA. I don't know when the finals or whatever the fuck's going on ends.
I think it's playoffs. I think I said finals in a chat, but it's playoffs.
I'll pay attention to basketball.
Ends in 10. Collision ends in like 10 minutes. It's fine. I saw what I needed to see. Last two things. Drew re-signed with WWE. a la a giant ass fucking sword from Dwayne, which is weird, but okay. So now people can stop worrying. Drew will be coming back. He's gonna be drafted on Monday. He's a part of that pool, so it's fine.
Is this sword named after Dwayne's mom?
I think you have to ask Drew or Dwayne.
Just when he thought he escaped that sword, eh?
Never.
I mean, I am more partial to the original sword because, as we've talked about, Matt Riddle was a Horcrux, and Drew McIntyre slayed him with the sword of Gryffindor. So I was happy about that. I have respect for the original sword.
Mm.
We love everybody references over here. Last thing, if you're wondering why hasn't Valhalla been on your screens, I know people are really wondering about this. Her and Eric are expecting their second child. She is pregnant. So that explains why she is not on TV anymore. And Eric is still recovering from his neck injury. So obviously congrats to them and their new baby.
Which makes sense why Ivar was the only one listed on the draft.
Exactly, because Eric is still gone, and Valhalla will be off TV for quite some time. I think she's doing November, so at least a year.
Are we sure it's not Michael Cole's child?
Not 100%.
Goddamn antlers.
He's pretty
Not
excited
until it
about
comes
those
out.
antlers.
Yeah, no. It's got to be like a mating ritual or something. Like she did her little dance. She wore her antlers. She seduced him. Like
No.
I mean, it didn't work on me, Katie. I'm not saying she seduced the world. She seduced one man on commentary. Like that's what he's into. But
okay.
I have heard that like powdered antler is actually like an aphrodisiac that they used to use.
What?
Yeah, they used to grind up antlers and use them as aphrodisiacs.
Okay.
I know all these things. I've got you.
Of course you fucking do. Strange.
So that's it for news and rumors?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I forgot to even look. Do we know if there were any draft picks post-draft?
There was, yeah.
Okay.
Where'd
Can
my
you
thing
pull a
go?
list of that up? You already got that for me?
I wrote it down. I wrote it down because I'm going to need this for my show next week, so I can write down all the fucking draft picks. So
I was gonna say before we get into Spits or Swallows, the draft happened on Friday, night one of the draft. Right. Champions were not eligible for the draft except for the women's tag team champions. They will be eligible. They had draft pools. I saw a lot of people saying that the draft was boring for them, and outside of a couple names from NXT, I tend to agree because a lot of it was so-and-so staying on their show.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I think a way that we could fix that is if you made it so that, because the idea, for those of you who don't know, isn't that like you're still on SmackDown. It's that everyone is wiped and these are fresh picks. No one is on a brand, right?
Yeah.
But if you kept everyone on brand and you only had the Raw GM drafting people from SmackDown and or NXT, and then the SmackDown GM, again, same thing, Raw or NXT. So everyone that was coming over was fresh and new to the show, as opposed to like, I want to keep Randy Orton where he is because he's been here. Because that's like not a fun draft pick because he's already here. Yeah. I think that would be a fun way to go about it. But I have the list of what happened on SmackDown. And then you have the list of what happened after SmackDown. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the draft a little bit, and then we'll get into our Spits or Swallows. We'll smash or pass the draft after draft picks. Sound like a plan? All right. Yeah. Number one draft pick to SmackDown, Bianca Belair. Smash or pass?
Smash. Obviously.
Okay, smash for me, but I think they were trying to go for something there. Let's just put it that way.
What do you mean?
Just trying to make it a point that they're drafting a woman first, and it's Bianca and all that stuff. That I don't know. That's just kind of what I felt like there. But she's still awesome.
Yeah, no, she's. I think I get what you're saying. They took all of the champions out, then Roman withdrew himself, so you feel like they were kind of making a point to make a point.
Yeah, with all the whole Caitlin Clark stuff going on, all this, I think they were trying to play off of that and just like, go, okay, let's keep it going with that kind of stuff, right?
Maybe.
They could have, but they could have went somewhere. Like, was she the first woman ever drafted #1 overall?
No.
So, no. Okay. Well, I was wondering if that was something.
Becky was a few years ago.
Okay.
#1 overall, and then apparently Kelly was #1 quite some time ago. So, from what I was told,
Kelly was the first female #1 draft pick.
Yeah, that's what Twitter said. I don't know if I necessarily believe it. Becky, I know. Kelly's a maybe.
I mean, the extreme expose was a time, all right? Like, you needed that on your show.
I know that was a thing. I was alive.
We got Jey Uso.
John Laurinaitis drafted her.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which we'll talk about Tony's comments about that later, too. Jey Uso to Raw. Well, staying on Raw because he already got sent to Raw. So, smash or pass. Like, again, for me, like, these are passes because, like, they're staying on the same brand. Like,
yeah. I mean, it's still a smash because, I mean, they looked at Jey Uso was drafted before Seth.
Yeah.
So, like, they're putting stock into Jey Uso again, like, continuing their stock in Jey. That's how I looked at it.
However, and this, again, we talk about this all the time. Our friends over YK Wrestling talk about this, where, like, we as fans start fantasy booking into the future. Like, we see things and we get all hyped for it. And then when it doesn't happen, we're like, but why didn't you do that? I thought you were going to do that. It's like, no, like, you made that up in your own fucking head.
Yeah.
So a lot of what I saw was Solo has his bloodline in that Survivor Series. It's going to be bloodline versus bloodline. And with my issues about brand splits, seeing Jey on Raw and seeing where the rest of the bloodline ended up, that we don't know where Jimmy ended up, and we can still do Raw bloodline versus SmackDown bloodline in a way. So it's still possible. We'll see. I'm a little apprehensive about Jey being on Raw and everyone else being on SmackDown. So
it's all right. Well, hey, rosters aren't fully locked yet. There could be some shady trades happening before the rosters get rocked. It's fine.
The rosters get rocked?
Yeah.
You should write that down.
Fine.
I know you're smashing this one, Katie. Carmelo Hayes to SmackDown, which, I mean, technically he was already there, but he just finished up his time in NXT in that banger of a match with Trick Williams.
Yeah, this is the second time an NXT talent, technically, because he still was with NXT, got drafted in the first round. First one being Finn Balor.
It's smash for me as well. I love Carmelo Hayes. I love what he's done. We'll talk about what he did on SmackDown when we get into our spits and swallows, but he definitely stepped out his first night officially on the SmackDown roster of the draft. So shout out to him. Seth staying on Raw.
Yeah.
Surgery.
Yeah. For a while. Yeah.
So, Randy staying on SmackDown.
Yeah.
I hope Owens does too.
Yeah. Especially after what happened. What's up, Travis? Braun Breaker over to Raw. Now, if I remember correctly, Nick Aldis signed him to SmackDown, and Adam Pearce was courting him hard. So Adam got his boy, and he's very happy.
I'm smashing that because I think it'll lead to something similar happen with one of Pierce's favorites going over to SmackDown.
All right. Nia to SmackDown, so that was a change.
Mm-hmm.
I also feel like
on SmackDown.
Yeah, especially with Bianca being over there and Bailey, I kind of feel like that was needed a little bit to freshen up that women's roster. I feel like everyone's kind of done everything with everyone over there, so mixing that up a little bit helps.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was a good move. That's a smash. Liv stays on Raw.
Yeah, makes sense.
Are we fans of the Liv Morgan Revenge Tour? Are we excited about this? No.
Fuck Liv Morgan. When I said I wanted Liv and Rhea, it wasn't like this. This was not the way and listen, Liv was giving Dom the eyes. Liv's gonna take Dom from Mommy. I'm calling it now.
It shouldn't be hard to do, especially if she's not around.
Well, he's a simp, so he'll fall for
exactly.
her.
LA Knight stays on SmackDown and Ricochet stays on Raw, which means Samantha Irvin stays on Raw.
Woo! That's a smash right there. That alone.
The Bloodline, who are not happy about their draft position, also staying on SmackDown, which I kind of like the whole, like, it seemed after everything Tama and Solo did, no one really wanted to draft them and have to deal with them. I kind of like that. I almost kind of wish they had gone undrafted on TV. Like, I get why they didn't, but I almost wish they had because of how volatile they are.
Kind of like their free agents too, along with Roman. So you still got that Bloodline whole thing floating out there.
Mm-hmm. Yes, he did, Travis. He got a big sword that we think is named after The Rock's mom. Talked about it in News of Rumors.
You said
but see, so here's the thing. I'm excited for Drew because I still need the conclusion to Drew McIntyre and CM Punk when CM Punk is healthy. Like,
of course,
he needed to stay around so we can see that, because that has been, those two going at it has been some of the most entertaining TV WWE has had to give in a while, especially over on Raw. Like, that was a highlight of my Raws going into WrestleMania and post WrestleMania is watching those two go at it, verbally and physically. So I'm excited. Sheamus, Raw.
Yep.
AJ Styles staying on SmackDown, which makes sense. Even though the rosters aren't locked in until after the pay-per-view, he's challenging the SmackDown champion at the pay-per-view.
It was massive sword, Travis. Massive. Same.
Alpha Academy staying on Raw.
Good.
I can't wait to ask you how you feel about Alpha Academy right now.
I mean, are you gonna ask me now, or do you want to ask me for Spence as well?
We'll wait. I'll see. And then Andrade to SmackDown, and the last surprise from NXT, Kiana James to Raw.
I called that shit too in a video. I'm very proud of myself. I think I did say she was going to Raw too, so look at me go.
Are you do you watch a lot of NXT, BC?
I'm half and half. Like I watched it over the last few weeks, so I'm kind of caught up. I since Stand and Deliver, I've been watching it. I've kind of was trailing off it, and then Stand and Deliver kind of got me back into it.
Just so you know, big Tony D'Angelo fans around here.
Yeah.
As an Italian from Chicago, I've even got the picture that Katie was nice enough for my birthday, which is always WrestleMania weekend, to get me an autographed picture of Tony D'Angelo and shipped it out to my house.
I saw that
at WrestleMania.
I saw that. Yeah.
Excited about the Don. But what
I want to see Tony D up on Raw with feuding with Imperium. I want to see that.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah.
You could bring in Vinci.
Vinci with Tony D. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We can pull some people. Like, we got some people we can put in Imperium. I feel like Baby Regal would be good in Imperium. We can get him out of that new quarter catch crew.
I'd be okay with Baby Regal in Imperium.
Makes sense.
Okay.
How do you feel about Ilya in Imperium?
No. I understand why people would want it, but him against Gunther is too good. I don't want them.
If it leads to that, if it leads to like this, like kind of.
If it's a short-term thing with him in Imperium, just to kind of get his like footing, quote unquote, on the main roster, I'll take it. Get the fuck out of here, Kyle. Put R-Truth in Imperium. Yes.
Yes. R-Truth in all of the factions. Actually, you know what I want? I want R-Truth as part of the family, because I feel like the Don would accept R-Truth. He'd bring him in,
he would.
And that would be fun.
That'd be
but also
great.
Imperium. Just him standing there trying to like pose with them, and
I want him to try to take the jacket off of Gunther, like Kaiser does.
That'd be good. That'd be good.
That'd be great.
R-Truth will think he's the League of Nations.
Wow.
Actually, I could picture that. Yeah.
Jesus.
All right, Katie. Who else got drafted?
So shortly after SmackDown went off air, Cedric Alexander and Ashani the Adonis went to SmackDown. Fire and Desire are now on Raw. Baron Corbin is now split from Braun Breaker and will be on SmackDown. So no more
he got
Wolf
called back
Dogs.
up. Good for him.
Got called back up.
That's
two.
twice he's been drafted from NXT to the main roster. That might be a record.
And I think to SmackDown both times.
Yeah.
Look at him go. Proud. Ivar will be sticking on Raw. The OC will be sticking on SmackDown. And Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark will be staying on Monday Night Raw.
All right. Not bad. Nothing crazy. I was hoping for a couple more NXT call-ups. Like I understand
think those are going to happen on Monday.
You don't want to raid the roster. I get it, but also like you got a lot of talent down there that we could pull.
You saw them all sitting there. Wendy Chu was chilling in the back. I was like, "Where the fuck have you been?"
Taking a nap.
Not on TV. Taking a
long
nap.
Been a long nap.
Yeah.
All right. Overall, night one, how did you guys feel about the draft? And are you excited for night two?
I felt like it was kind of in my spits actually, the draft, because just like you say, it was kind of boring because I'm with you. I feel like they could do something like maybe you lock in like 5 to 10 keepers, so you don't have to worry about those. They'll stay on there, and then like you said, you get to draft from the other roster, maybe 5 people or something like that, just so you know there's going to be a change in the lineup. But I feel like there's going to be a lot more going on in Raw. I think they're saving kind of the excitement and the drama for Raw.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, I necessarily just had it as like a gargle because I was like, some stuff was cool, like Mello getting called up officially now. Kiana James getting called up was super cool. I mean, like, stuff makes sense, stuff doesn't. Raw's gonna have like 24 picks total or some shit, like the whole night. Like, I don't remember how many rounds it was gonna be, but there's more picks. Obviously, it's a bigger, longer show, so they're gonna do more with that. Plus, after Raw, more NXT call-ups, more than likely. So I'm excited to see where it goes. It'll lead to something batshit crazy. I know.
Where are all of my SmackDown draft picks that they won, the future draft picks that they got for trades that I've been told about on TV? Where are those? All right.
It was too long ago. They forgot.
They don't go away. There's no it's not money in the bank. If you don't cash them in by a year, then you lose them. That's not how that works.
We don't know that. WWE world, it might be.
For the 2028 draft. Yeah.
First round draft pick 2028.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right. Let's get into our spits and swallows. And since you are the guest, BC Hunter, we're going to start with you. Spit or swallow?
Okay. I'll go with a swallow to start off with because there's some mega spits that I could do. But in honor of Vince, who's not here tonight, I'm going to give a swallow for Sheamus. One for how he's handling the negative comments about his weight, number one. And like, it's like him and Drew have gone to the school of social media, the way they're handling. It's just been a work of art, and it's been beautiful to see. 2, for the fact that like, within a week, I think he dropped about 15 pounds of that weight that he had on. I'm still convinced, as somebody who's gone through like using prednisone and stuff like that, I think that's what it was. He was on some kind of drug or something like that, and it was just water weight for him, so not a big deal. And then coming back and having that match with Shinsuke, that was a great match on Raw, and it's like he just doesn't lose a step. I mean, Sheamus has always been one of my favorites anyways, but just the combination of him coming back, he even said like he got called back earlier than he thought he was going to be part of the draft, and so he was like a month away from being in peak shape, but whatever. He said, I'll go to the gym and work out and do my thing, and he's doing it. So good on him, and just like not going into a black hole of abyss on social media because of it. He just played along with it. So it's great.
No, it was fantastic the way they turned that around. Drew is fantastic, and
It's
really
amazing.
This heel run has shot him up my rankings. I love the don't shoot up my kilt. Every time he squats down, he's talking shit about the fans, saying that the most complicated relationship they've ever had was with their hand, which I really enjoyed. saying they French kiss their cousins. Sheamus going back and forth, then the burger after burger after burger line that everyone took was great. Sheamus says he can lose the weight, but Drew can't lose stupid. Drew says everyone in the back was making fun of him, and he stood up for Sheamus, even though he's out here making fun of Sheamus after standing up for Sheamus. But, like, I get that, right? I can say shit about Vince, but nobody else is allowed to say shit about Vince to me, all right? You don't talk shit about my friends. I can talk shit about my friends, all right? Yeah. That's how that works. So, no, I get that. And then, like you said, the match with Shinsuke, which, like, I'm sad to see Shinsuke not really being utilized outside of, like, he can come in and he's a technician. He can put on a great match with just about anyone. Like, he has that ability, but he won the Royal Rumble. He went for the title, and we just never really got him back to a point to where he was a viable contender. And I loved his run in NXT. Like, his run as NXT champion was one of my favorite runs. That was part of my favorite time of fucking professional wrestling, was that whole NXT era with him and Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe and Sami Zayn and all those guys. Like, so I'm a little sad to see Sheamus or Shinsuke there, but he's got Sheamus to play off of. Also, with Sheamus being on Raw, that means he has the opportunity to become Grand Slam champion and win that Intercontinental title. So
he better.
Yeah. Hey, Shinsuke, I would not be opposed to Shinsuke going back down to NXT and just kind of ripping it up down there for a little while.
That would be great. I was worried for a little bit that they were going to, like, pair Shinsuke with Imperium and kind of do like an Access Powers sort of thing from World War II. And I'm really glad they didn't, because I can't remember what happened, but something happened. I think Gunther set up a match or something, or he was there was something going on there, and I'm like, this just feels weird, and I don't like it. Let's not do this. Let's not play into that. But I'm with you. Sheamus, Drew, Big Swallow.
Yeah.
Katie, Spitter Swallow.
You mentioned it before. I'm gonna swallow Chad Gable doing what was right. Listen, he got sick and fucking tired of being overlooked and underutilized, so he tried to take Sami Zayn's ankle last week, and then he explained his actions. He was like, I'm not the bad guy here. He put some tough love in the Alpha Academy. I don't care what anybody says, Chad Gable's not the bad guy here.
No, he's not. No.
He got pushed too far, and he snapped. I just wrote about it today. That's why.
And you guys should go check out what Katie wrote. Everyone in his stable have been not performing up to the standard of the man that is training them. They are all losers. Sammy did steal his moment, and then, like, rubbed it in his face afterwards. Like, you stole my moment, and then you came and you laid that belt down in front of me, and you walked out of the ring and went and celebrated with your wife, and you rubbed it in my face. Like, fuck you, bro. I get that. I get it. I'm with you.
He even brought his child into this whole thing, like, just like Gable. Like, he stole everything.
Yep. Should have been.
And then makes Alpha Academy vow to help him no matter what, because going forward, it is all about Gable.
As it should be.
I'm kind of mad he didn't say, I need you all to tell me that you are ready, willing
and Gable. It's all right. He'll get rid of Alpha Academy in like a month, and then we bring in heel creeds. We get Team Angle 2.0, and we'll be smooth sailing.
Because I feel like Ready, Willing, and Gable is something that we can use like the 3 eyes for Kurt Angle. Like, I feel like that is absolutely could be his thing in a negative way, not in the positive way that we had it in NXT with the towel and Jason Jordan. So I'm down for that. Let's see. All right. So I'm going to jump to Dynamite. I didn't watch it live. All right, I didn't watch it live. I caught it after the fact, and I'll talk about why later. But I am going to swallow Tony Khan. Now, I understand there's some controversy here, right? He said he was never going to book himself in a live angle on TV, and everyone that hates AEW wants to jump on that and blah, blah, blah. Listen, it was inevitable. He's in the wrestling business. He's booking. He's on TV fairly regularly.
Mm-hmm.
There was no way they weren't going to book him, and it made sense. Yeah. Do I think the footage was necessary to get to where we are? I don't.
No.
But I appreciate the fact that they took their petty and they turned it into a positive. They were petty about it. They used the footage. They used it to build Jack Perry. The story flowed. He showed up at the pay-per-view. Now he's here. We get Tony Khan stabbed, shanked with a mic, beat up, TK driver laid out. He's wearing the neck brace at the draft in the war room, selling it like everyone said he should. Like, he's giving us all of the shit we're asking for. He's also going and saying stupid shit that he probably shouldn't. Not okay. So here's the thing. He's not wrong, right? I did take exception to him saying that they're the Pepsi because CM Punk. I feel like that was mini penny shop, or whatever. Calling WWE the Harvey Weinstein of wrestling with all of the allegations and everything going on, it's not incorrect. It was unnecessary, but it's not incorrect.
Tony Khan should not throw stones while he's living in a fucking glass house. How many people does he fucking have in that roster, in that locker room, that have been accused of the exact same fucking things that people in WWE have of a higher power? So Tony Khan shouldn't have fucking said shit, because no, you have Ric Flair. You brought that decrepit old man back into this business. That's the worst one of them all. I mean, Darby Allin is a big one over there too. I could go on and on, but like, no, you can't say that shit when you have the same shit happening in your backyard, bro.
True. So angle-wise, AEW-wise, swallowing Tony Khan, swallowing them taking chicken shit and making chicken salad, because I enjoyed it thoroughly. I actually went back to watch the entire segment because I couldn't do it during the show.
Yeah.
Because of the audio was so bad and rough. Like, it was grating on my ears. I just said fuck it and shut it off about halfway through the show. But I know you saw it, BC.
Oh, I commented on it. Yeah, I commented on online. I would spit Tony Khan, to be quite honest. Okay. Only because I'm just so fed up with AEW and the continuous shots at WWE. Only I'm okay with people on Twitter doing it back and forth, like the wrestlers themselves doing that stuff. Like, that's fine with me. But you keep doing this stuff when you finally get a positive for AEW. You just crowned Swerve the champion, and then you got more people talking about the Tony Storm comment about things, right? You got the whole showing the footage, which just completely backfired. Like I said, this has become an absolute joke of a promotion, to be quite honest, that they're doing this stuff. I mean, yeah, you got a little ratings bump of it, but all it proved was people were more interested in you looking bad and it proving CM Punk right, as opposed to you looking good and there was nothing to come from it, And you don't have the protagonist in this to finish up that story with. The only thing that would have been good about Drew not signing with WWE and going to AEW would him actually playing the part of CM Punk in that feud and actually trolling Punk even more by doing that. But yeah, it's just, and then this whole Harvey Weinstein stuff. I mean, I get it. I get Vince McMahon is a piece of shit, and he's he's going to hell and all that stuff. But Vince McMahon is one person that was controlling the WWE. There's 1,000 people who work for the WWE that are nothing like that, and you're associating this to an audience that has no fucking clue what you're talking about. They don't. And meanwhile, also the NFL is a partner of the WWE because they do merchandising with them with those championship belts as well. It was just dumb. It was just stupid. And again, you had a moment. Number one, I would have had Swerve there at the draft in your war room and stuff like that. Your first black world champion. Like it's the NFL draft. Like get something going where there's that cool factor with stuff with Swerve coming into as your champion and display Swerve as your champion. Forget about this whole comment about Harvey Weinstein and all this stuff. So that's just my thing. Like it's just, and I don't honestly, again with wrestling, wrestling is an escape. And I keep saying this, and that's why it's like just bury Vince McMahon, get him away from all this. I don't want to hear about real life stuff, especially sick real life stuff when it comes to like Harvey Weinstein or if it's Jeffrey Epstein or whoever the hell it is that they're talking about. But it's an escape, so we don't need to bring that stuff in. So that's just me. It's just it did nothing to help AEW.
So you do a lot of retro stuff, right? We have a podcast on Patreon, Return to Wrestling, and we started with the very first Nitro. We're working our way through WCW until at some point where Travis tells us, "Hey, we're done. I'm done watching this. I don't want to do it anymore." I don't know when that's going to be, but we just got past like the Jay Leno stuff, the all that, and I guess it doesn't bother me because I remember all this stuff growing up. So like Eric Bischoff was coming out and making jokes about Monica Lewinsky and all, like he was doing the same thing. The difference was exactly what you said. He was taking his wrestlers and he was putting them in places to make the wrestling cool while also taking shots at WWE and everything else in kind of the same way. And I feel like Tony's got a little bit of a disconnect. Like, as much as he hates him, he kind of wants to be Eric Bischoff, but he's not really keen on how to do it right. By the way, what's up, Dad Hat? Thanks for swinging through.
And I'm with you, Matt. I get it because I lived through it. I lived through the 80s and all the stuff that the WWE would do. I lived through the 90s. I lived through the shitty 90s, and I lived through the Attitude Era and all that stuff. I got a part of my podcast that I talk about the 90s now. And I know the answer is going to be but WWE and like from a lot of fans, but that was then, and it's a whole different audience. It's a whole different culture that we live in also, where a joke like that back then didn't hit the same way as it does right now. And also back then you'd have somebody playing Monica Lewinsky in the ring and they get their comeuppance. There's nothing happening here that you get a comeuppance for, right? With him calling him Harvey Weinstein or whatever. And it was, and a lot of the stuff that they did back then, when I was watching, I thought this was stupid back then too. Like the whole, Billionaire Ted and all that stuff and the Nacho Man. I'm sorry, back then I used to like watching both WCW and WWF. So I didn't really care. And I didn't really care to see them making fun of Savage and Hogan because I was enjoying seeing them on WCW and stuff like that. So to me, I thought it was stupid back then too, but whatever. I mean, but it's I get it. I get what you're saying, but I just thought there's only negative connotation with that name, and that's not a good thing.
Yeah. And that was the point. He was trying to put that in fans who are not watching wrestling's minds as, oh, this is a terrible product and we shouldn't be, Will said it in a TikTok. It's slander. It's essentially slander.
That's what I thought too. If he even had said the words, "We're up against WWE run by the Harvey Weinstein of wrestling" or something, even that would not be as bad. But he called the WWE the Harvey Weinstein. So you're painting the whole federation, the whole as company, opposed to just the one person. Right? So it's just stupid.
Yep. All right, BC Hunter, spit or swallow. What you got for me?
Well, that was my big spit, so don't worry about that. Let me see. For me, I'll say a spit in regards to just an overall. Well, but back to Raw. One, okay. The women's battle royal for the world title was a bit of a spit for me because it just, when I saw everybody in the ring, I felt no star power. And it's good that you mentioned that about the draft and how they're shaking things up. And they got Nia over there, and hopefully we'll get some people coming over to Raw. But like when I watch them, like, geez, it just really doesn't feel like, aside from Becky and Nia, maybe, and then it was going to be Becky and Nia and Liv. I sat there cheering for Chelsea Green. That's what I wanted to win the title, just to shake things up and just make something fun. But that, to me, it was just, it felt like I'm looking at it, and I know there's injuries, but if you flip the channel to SmackDown, they are full of stars in the women's division over there. So that was kind of, I think this would have been a time when maybe a tournament would have worked better for this situation.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I will say this though. I had it as a swallow, and it was mostly a swallow because of Becky. I really enjoyed her doing the interview, taking the mic, narrating her way to the ring, stopping to give Maxine Dupree some advice and like pump her up and be like, listen, this is your chance. Everyone's talking shit about you. Go out there and show them why you deserve to be here. Like all of that was really cool as she like narrated her way into her entrance. I enjoyed the shit out of that. And then, like you said, we knew it was going to come down to Nia, Becky, and Liv.
Yeah.
I made this point though, because a lot of people were bitching in the build to Rhea versus Becky. Why is Nia here? Why is Liv here? Why are they doing this? And it's like, well, this is why, because if you have an unforeseen injury, now you have people ready to go that are in that spot. You don't have to start from scratch and build someone. You have people in the wings waiting. When the feud is over, when Rhea wins, you have viable contenders right there behind her ready to go. Like you don't have to start from scratch, because that was the big complaint about Cody winning, right? It's like, oh, now what does Cody do? Well, you got to build something, you got to start something, you got to make something happen. We're working with AJ now, and Cody versus AJ is going to be a great fucking match. Like we got to build something, we got to find a new foe for Cody. They had one ready, they had two ready for Rhea when she was done with Becky, and that was the point of it. And then we got this situation, it's like, all right, we got three viable women who could all possibly win. I didn't know who was walking out. I had a good idea it was probably going to be Becky because she was supposed to take time off and she came back, but like, you never really know. It could have gone to any one of those three women, and I really wouldn't have been mad. So
I thought Becky was the right call as well, as far as just for now, just for some stability. But that's a great point you make. Like that's kind of like what you're talking about, 90s WWE and stuff like that. That's why you had 6 different people in the main event scene that they were always ready to go and challenge for that title, whether it was Austin, Rock, Triple H, Big Show, whatever. Foley, you had somebody ready to go, so there was never that downtime if one injury happened.
Give him a second. He freezes every once in a while.
Yeah.
Sorry, Katie, you were going to say something?
No, I was waiting for you to come back from being frozen.
No, you look like you want to say something about the Battle Royal.
Oh, no. I mean, BC Hunter's right. Like, it should have been a fucking tournament. You could have crowned someone at Backlash Raw like Air. I didn't need a Battle Royal. It was a waste of time. In my opinion. You want to use your roster right, use them right. But
build some stars along the way.
Nick Aldis, whatever.
Adam Pearce is not Nick Aldis. Kyle said the Battle Royal was like a hand job. Get you where you need to, but there's better options.
Also,
what's up? What's up, Jalen? All right, Katie. Spit or swallow?
Well, I mean, what's another big thing that happened this week that I was super happy about? It wasn't Chad Gable. It was obviously Trick Williams becoming NXT champion. I said it on my show. I was like, I had this whole idea in my head. Trick was going to lose, get kicked out of NXT, find Mello in a few weeks on the main roster, and they were going to beef up there. So I went into this match being like, well, Trick might lose, but that's okay. And then Trick won, and then I lost my fucking mind because the crowd had the building shaking. That's how important this was to NXT. You had British Strong Style. I don't know. What the fuck do they go by now?
Something Catch Republic or something.
The New Catch Republic.
Yeah, them and Johnny Gargano, the Creeds, and Ivy all down there to support Trick. I mean, all the NXT alums kind of just showing up throughout NXT. Damian Priest hitting on fucking Sarah Schreiber, like old school, like ho NXT Damian Priest, which I loved. Just everything about the main event of Spring Break-In just warmed my heart, and it was probably the best thing I've seen all week.
All right. I'm with you. I'm glad Trick won. I really liked the hugging and kissing from Ilya afterwards, like the very emotional and almost slightly violent hug and kiss that Ilya gave him.
Oh, of course.
Overwhelmed by emotion. Very, very happy for that. I'm assuming we'll see Ilya drafted now.
He was eligible, so
he was eligible. I'm happy with this. Happy to see. I thought Trick was ready for main roster, and I was ready to see that main roster crowd whoop that Trick and shake the building. So I was kind of hoping we keep it on Ilya, and then love a violent kiss.
Me too. Don't we all?
I wanted to see Tony D'Angelo the Don, take that.
Tony Don.
But we still have the ability to turn Tony heel and have him be the one to beat Trick and take that title and run a heel mafia family down in NXT. I've got my fingers crossed. We got time.
Let the shit marinate down there.
All right. I'm going to wrap up most of what I watched of NXT or AEW. So I'm spitting the audio. Because it made it hard for me to watch. I ended up shutting it off. But I'm also spitting it because this is one of the most women-centric episodes of AEW we have seen, and the audio was shit. So, Swallows, we had Mina Shirakawa versus Anna Jay. Love both of those women. Mina gets the win. Mariah and Mina celebrate. It gets cut short by Anna, who starts choking out Mariah. Tony comes in and makes the save. Serena Deeb shows up. I couldn't hear a word of what the fuck she was saying.
Yeah.
Because the audio was shit. But basically, she picked up Tony's title and said she's coming for her title. So Serena Deeb showing back up. I'm happy with that. Also, this whole thing where Tony Storm nurses Mariah and brings her to her bosom. Not gonna lie, fan of it. Enjoy it.
Love it.
Works for me.
Love it so much.
And then we followed that up with Chris Statlander and Stokely. Now, I will say, and I agree because our boy Vince recently was with Charlie and Justin over on the Get Show podcast, and they talked about this. Mercedes Moné has not been the best promo, and that's really all she's been doing in AEW. I mean, Pretty Kyle said it too. I don't know. Maybe she works better off a script. Maybe that's why, she went to, do the Star Wars stuff. Maybe that it's not working for me. A lot of what she's doing. I need to see her wrestle. That's where she shines in professional wrestling, is in the ring for the most part. But the celebration for Stokely with Chris Statlander, or for Willow with Chris Statlander and Stokely, was fun up until Mercedes showed up. More of like who attacked who. Willow wants to know if Mercedes thinks the injury was intentional. Mercedes like, do you want to know if I blame you? Do you want to know if I blame you? What do you think? And it's like, can you just fucking answer her, please? And let's move the fuck on.
Answer the goddamn question.
Stat ends up grabbing Mercedes. Mercedes thinks it's Willow. She slaps Willow. Overall, fun segment. Just Mercedes, for who she should be and where she should be at, is not hitting the way I want her to hit in AEW, especially with all of that women's revolution stuff.
So she's still not cleared, hence why she hasn't been in a ring wrestling. I think she quite literally will be cleared like right before Double or Nothing, if not that being her first match. I've been saying it. Chris Statlander is the one who attacked Mercedes. She is, look what happened on Wednesday. Like, she's the one who grabbed Mercedes and Willow got hit for it. It's because Trent turned heel and he whispered something in Statlander's ear, and now we're getting evil Statlander. I've been saying it. She's going to cost Willow at Double or Nothing, and I'm going to be pissed because Willow should not be a transitional champion.
All right, listen. You brought it up. Also, heel Trent. Because I've told you, I like Orange Cassidy, but I like Orange Cassidy being Orange Cassidy, and Orange Cassidy hasn't been Orange Cassidy in a long time.
Yeah.
Like, I liked Orange Cassidy when he was just randomly hanging out in places, doing his gimmick, and then getting in the ring with his hands in his pocket and waiting until the opponent forced him to get to the points where he had to wrestle. When he was doing the gimmick, and then it was like, okay, now this is a challenge. Now I need to step it up. That was my Orange Cassidy. That's what I enjoyed. I was not for like traveling international fighting champion wrestling every night, or like, that's not why I liked Orange Cassidy. And I fucking cannot stand Chuck Taylor.
I know.
So Chet being like, fuck these guys, I'm all for it. Trent was the only one of the best friends I even fucking liked to begin with, really. So, like, yes.
So Rampage is on right now. It was on after Collision, and they were having a parking lot brawl between Trent and Chuck. I don't know, obviously, the outcome of that, but Trent better whoop his ass. Kill him in the parking lot if you have to.
On your Mercedes point, just going back to that, would it help her promos if she added "May the Force be with you" at the end of each of them?
Or "This is the way."
This is the way.
Yes.
It would help a little bit.
Yeah.
Only a little bit, though. But then
It's
I get
unreal.
mad. She does it every time.
Yeah.
Well, it's like Pretty Kyle said. She doesn't speak like a human. She has a lot of inflection, but and like I said, they talked about it on Get You. I feel like she's going out there off her head. She doesn't have bullet points or anything really given to her, and her speaking the way she does without the bullet points. Because like somebody I just saw posted like something in the Smackin' It Raw Facebook group of her like going after Charlotte Flair and how Charlotte Flair called her a one-night stand, and she's like, "You're the daughter of Ric Flair. If it wasn't for a one-night stand, you might not be here." Like that stuff was good, but someone wrote that for her. Yeah. That's what I need. That's the stuff.
I thought the person that wrote that stuff for her is now with AEW. Jennifer Pepperman or whatever.
That fucking lady. She's got a whole bag of issues herself, but she was basically brought in by Mercedes.
Right, yeah.
So, interesting. Forgot about that. Makes all the fucking sense, don't it?
Well, she might need to get through her issues and start writing some better shit because it's not working. BC Hunter. Actually, before you go, because I don't want to forget and get distracted, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank everyone for watching us live and ask you guys, because we talked about it earlier, to go check out our Patreon, patreon.com/creationworld, where for $1, you get 3 shows. You get Return to Wrestling with me and Travis, where we cover old school WCW. We are deep, balls deep in WCW. It is 1998 Fall Brawl. The main event is WCW versus the NWO Wolfpack versus NWO Hollywood. The Ultimate Warrior is here, and I have to talk about this with Travis tomorrow, and he is so excited, and I am so not. But there is some good. There's some good going on. So we're going to talk about that. That will be available immediately because it is the end of the month. So within a day or two, that'll be up. Our last episode, if you guys haven't subscribed yet, which again, Jay Leno and DDP versus Hollywood Hogan and Eric Bischoff in the main event at Road Wild is available now as well. You guys can go listen to that. We also have Multiverse with Travis and Mara. If wrestling isn't your thing and you're like, what is it? Stop talking to me about this wrestling shit. All right. DC animated films, comic books. If you guys like the DC animated films, Travis and Mara just recorded and released Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 1. It is available now. I got the notification because I'm on our Patreon. And the last show, if you have to ask, it is me, my wife, Kate. We are joined by her best friend, Danny, this week, covering Am I the Asshole post that we got off Reddit. Some submitted by Danny, some submitted by Travis. It's a good time. I believe it is called, because I love the names that we come up for these from the Am I the Asshole post, Dead Dicks and Hate Craps. So if you want to know what Dead Dicks and Hate Craps are about, $1, 3 shows. If you guys subscribe to higher tiers, you get more perks, including the show ad-free. But we care about you. We care about your sexual well-being, your energy levels, and your health overall. And we have sponsors that cover all of those. Travis is here to tell you about one of them.
Happening, y'all. I know we're having a lot of fun right now, but I actually want to talk to you about something very important: your health. You see, life is full of twists and turns, and that's why having the right health insurance matters. I want to make sure you have the coverage you need without breaking the bank, and that starts with speaking to me for absolutely no charge. Having health insurance isn't just about doctor visits, though. It's about living a healthier, happier life. Physical health and mental well-being go hand in hand, and that's why the plans I represent cover not just the physical, but the mental aspects of your health as well. And here's the deal. I'm very good at what I do. So not only can I find you the perfect plan, but I might even be able to get you one for free. That's right, free advice and a free plan. Your health is too important to compromise. So let's chat, find the right plan, and ensure your well-being. Just visit health.creationworld.com today to schedule a free consultation. The link is right here in the description. That's health.creationworld.com. Your health, your future.
And we're back. Your health, your future. It is very important. BC Hunter, speaking of health and sexual well-being, spit or swallow.
Good segue. So yeah, agreeing with Katie, the whole Trick Williams thing is definitely a swallow. But another one, just to prove that I'm not an AEW hater, just shitty wrestling hater. I like that they crowned Swerve champion, just for something different. You know what I mean? Like that's one thing they've done right is like their champions, their world champions it's a pretty good lineage there. And the fact that Swerve got it, he's young, he's got like, I like now again, I'm not watching it fully, but I see so much in social media, so I can kind of get an idea of what's going on. It feels like he's riding a wave of momentum with things. So it's going a different direction, which I like because my God, I'm so tired of hearing about the Elite. I'm so tired of hearing about, just the drama and stuff like that. So go a different direction, but apparently they're not doing a good job of playing up on that. So that's the other side of it. But yeah, good call on Crown and Swerve.
I agree with you on the lineage. I was extremely excited that we put the belt on Samoa Joe. I felt like that was one of the big missteps that WWE did when they had him and they brought him up to the main roster. Samoa Joe is an amazing talent, is a great champion. And the fact that he didn't get that there, but they pulled him off of Ring of Honor, put him on AEW, put that belt on him. MJF was a fucking time, and I miss him. Swerve, like you said, huge wave of momentum, and they wrote it, and they did the right thing because we've talked about in the past. WWE has kind of like they've had that wave of momentum and they've stalled, and then they lost it, and then when they finally crown the person, it's like, well, that's not who we want anymore, right? It happened with Roman. Roman was way over, and they waited, and they're like, all right, we're gonna put the belt on him now, and everyone's like, no, we wanted that, and you didn't give it to us. Now fuck you and fuck your champion. Same thing with The Rock versus Roman. We wanted it, and they didn't give it to us, and then we got excited for something else, and they're like, all right, we're going to give it to you now. It's like, no, we don't fucking want that now. Yep. That's not what we want. So capitalizing on that momentum, shout out to them, because it worked. Yeah. Katie, spit or swallow?
I'll just stick with AW for a second. I'm spitting everything and anything Chris Jericho because I got beef with Koki Khan now for this reason alone, because I don't know what kind of blackmail Chris Jericho has on this man, but to be your first AEW World Champion, that's disrespectful as all fuck. And then now you have him beat Hook, who is quite over. Sleepy Justin Bieber is quite over with the people. The hookers love Hook. You have this match at Dynasty, which you didn't even need to have. We were this close to having an AEW pay-per-view without Chris Jericho on it, and he snuck his way in because he always does. And then you have him beat Hook for the FTW title, why? And now he's the learning tree, and Big Bill, of all fucking people, wants to be under this goddamn learning tree. It makes me mad. I hate everything about it. I hate Chris Jericho with my heart and soul. I want him off my TV for good.
Katie, we've talked about you disrespecting Chris Jericho when our guests are Canadian.
Oh, that's okay. Go ahead.
Every time we have a Canadian on and I shit talk Jericho, they understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the most part.
It's time. It's time to go away.
It's time to pack it up. No, I'm so glad that I didn't so I watched up through the number one contender battle royal. I didn't finish it. I got into it, and then at some point, I'm like, okay, the audio's not getting better. I'm like an hour plus in. It's not getting better. I'm going to go watch something else. I'll catch up later. So I didn't have to deal with the learning tree. I didn't see any of that. I missed that. It was great. It was fantastic. I almost want to just like watch everything on tape delay and not live so that I can just fast forward through the shit that I don't want. And then my show's just going to be all swallows. That would be fantastic.
I just play on my phone. Like when he comes, like I just start watching TikToks, like, and then I kind of just glance up at the screen every once in a while and I'm like, oh, he's still there. More TikTok. And then he's still there. Oh, more TikTok. Maybe I'll throw on a Twitter or something. No, I can't fucking stand him.
Because they're trying to play into the criticism of Jericho. But the thing is, it's self-aware in the wrong way, like
which is Tony Khan. He's best at that.
Yes, yeah, no, it's rough. I'm not a fan.
I will.
Let's see, what do we got here? We talked about Gunther. I am going to swallow Gunther thanking Sammy for taking the load off of his shoulders that he had been carrying for so long. Talking about how he is the hunter. He is entering the King of the Ring. He is going hunting for a new title and putting everyone on notice. Woods coming out defending the King of the Ring, calling Gunther a usurper to his throne because he won the King of the Ring. Xavier Woods' love of the King of the Ring tournament, the fact that he was crowned King of the Ring, and just this whole, it's like his whole character now, I absolutely enjoy.
One of my favorite things in the whole world.
It's probably the best part of the New Day versus Imperium feud, if I'm being honest. Gunther calls Woods a clown and says he will bring honor back to the King of the Ring. The New Day defeat Imperium. Gunther throws his chair, shames Vinci and Kaiser, and then after a lot of hugging and touching, Kaiser's not a touchy-feely guy, right? So when he was going up to Vinci and he's like, it's okay. I'm like, you're so turning because this isn't you.
Yeah.
This isn't what you do. Like, it was very obvious. They beat the shit out of Vinci, then walks backstage. Gunther gives the nod of approval, like, good job. You're back in my good graces. Got rid of the dead weight. I enjoyed all this. I don't know what we're going to do with Vinci going forward. Giovanni.
NXT.
Possibly send him back down to NXT.
Yeah.
Possibly put him down there. Yeah. Expand the family.
Yes, Will. Matt did answer your question.
Yes, I swallowed Mathematics and Nickelback Dearman attacking their boss with Jungle Boy. Jungle Man.
Jungle Man. Excuse you. He's a man now. You see that beard? He's a man.
Gunther has been fucking fantastic. Losing the title, he hasn't lost anything. If anything, I'm excited to see him win the King of the Ring and who he's going to go after. If it's going to be Damian Priest, if it's going to be Cody Rhodes, I feel like Cody Rhodes should be the obvious choice. I feel like we said what's next for Cody. Gunther as a heel coming down for Cody. We could tell some great stories with that. We could do some fun shit with that. We could have Rocky IV in WWE and it'll be fun. We can do that. Let's do that. But
so that means Gunther has to get drafted to SmackDown then.
Which is fine. I'm good with that.
I'm just saying.
He could win the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
True. Yeah, we don't need this to happen like immediately. We gotta let Cody chill with the title for a little bit.
Yeah. He could win the Rumble, he could win Money in the Bank. We got a lot of options.
I love
I don't want to see him win Money in the Bank. I just want to see him clean, get a shot, and I like the Rumble win myself. Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, no. Swallowing Gunther. Like my name is Ginny.
How dare you?
The PC Hunter Spitter Swallow.
Let's go with a let's go with a spit here. Okay, and I'm gonna go to SmackDown for this.
Okay.
The Cody taking that ridiculous bump on his shoulder on that missed I don't know what it was. It was a missed Cody cutter or whatever. The one, and I don't think they messed up the move. It was just they just were trying to go for something fancy with one going over top the other in that match with Carmelo. The match itself was a great match, although I don't know if Cody should be getting taken to the limit this early after he just beat Roman Reigns for the title. But that's another story there. But just these bumps that they're taking for no reason. I don't know if he legit hurt his shoulder or not. I think he was selling, but geez, at the end of that match, it looked like he had like something down going on with his shoulder. And if after that whole finish the story thing, they have an injury to Cody where he had to relinquish the title, my God, that would just be unbelievably bad as far as timing for that. But yeah, like just kind of put him as a Fabergé egg for the next little while, especially with all the injuries we're seeing on the roster at the moment. And just do your safe match with AJ. And you know it's going to be a fantastic match with AJ, and just go from there. But yeah, just on a random SmackDown, I know he's trying to make Carmelo be him and look good, but Carmelo's fine. Carmelo's going to be very fine on that roster. He's going to do well for himself. So, yeah, I don't want to see the champion get hurt right after that. So that's a spit for me.
I'm with you on that. So I'm actually the opposite of you and Will here. Will said also agree Cody and Swerve both had unnecessary matches. Cody has always kind of been that guy. Like, he's not going to be a dominant champion who's going to go into matches and win easy. Like, he's that guy that's everyone's going to take him to the limit. And depending on his opponent, we find out where his limit is, like with Roman. So like Carmelo coming in and them having the match that they have, I had no issue with that. Same thing with Swerve and Kyle Fletcher. Like, I don't give a fuck about Kyle Fletcher, but also like Swerve isn't. If Samoa Joe had that match with Kyle Fletcher, I'd have an issue, because Samoa Joe is one of those champions who should just be going in and choking people out, right? Like, Swerve and Cody are workmen. They're going to go out there, they're going to work, they're going to try and put on the best, longest match that they can put on. So like that, it doesn't bother me watching that. However, taking unnecessary risks on a SmackDown in a match that means absolutely nothing, possibly hurting yourself just for shits and giggles, again, after finishing the story, don't do that. Don't.
I mean, I don't think that was like his intention. Like, it just shit got timed wrong, and like that happens. Like, it's not ballet. Like, they're gonna fuck up and they're gonna get hurt. But if like Cody's like hurt, nah, I'm gonna be pissed because I didn't watch this man win at Mania and watch everyone erupt with happiness just for him to fucking no. I lost Rhea. I have no Seth. Roman's in Hollywood. I can't lose Cody too. No.
However, on another note from that, Carmelo Hayes getting drafted to SmackDown and coming out and calling out the champion his first night officially on the main roster, walking out there on stage, getting it. Because, like, Cody was out there. I didn't even really pay attention to the Cody promo. Like, I'm just excited for Cody versus AJ. I don't really care. Like, AJ had his thing with LA Knight. We've got a little bit of time to build, but we don't have enough time. I'm good enough with just that matchup. I don't need anything extra, right? So I was like on my phone, not really paying attention. Then Triple H's music hit, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I forgot it was a draft. I'm like, oh yeah, draft stuff. Okay, that makes more sense. And then Hayes came out after being drafted and called Cody out. And I'm like, all right, fuck yeah. All right, let's do this. So yeah, no. A little bit of both. I guess Gargle undecidedly. Gargle possibly maybe hurting himself unnecessarily, but also it was a good look for Carmelo, and we love Carmelo. So yeah, and like you said, he's gonna be good.
He's gonna be fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Katie, spit or swallow.
It's my turn. Oh shit.
That's how this works.
I wasn't paying attention to his turn. It wasn't my defense. I'm gonna go back to NXT. I'm gonna swallow Sol Ruka getting a win over Blair Davenport's bitch ass. I hate Blair Davenport with a burning passion. I've always hated her. And I love Sol Ruka and everything that she does. And now that she's back, and it was a beach brawl type match, you know, boards and beach balls and the little pool with like the balls in it. Like, it's a fun time, you know. But that springboard soul snatcher, oh my god, I love her. That finisher's dope as fuck. So the fact that she did it as a springboard too, give her the NXT North American Women's title. Her versus Jada right now.
So BC, you'll understand this because I had a few thoughts about Soul. She's kind of strapped in a shitty gimmick right now, but she has an amazing finish. And there are a few people that I can think of like that, but one of the most prominent that they have an opportunity to kind of come out with, Diamond Dallas Page.
Mhm.
Diamond Dallas Page, for a long time in WCW, had the like shittiest gimmicks, but he had that diamond cutter, and that diamond cutter saved him. And it made him one of the biggest stars in WCW. He's one of my favorite things watching back through WCW right now again. And I loved it back then with, you know, the bang and doing all that. But rewatching it in 2024, like, I have a whole new appreciation for Diamond Dallas Page. He's probably one of my favorite things about WCW. That Soul Snatcher is one of those unique finishes where if she can pull it out and hit it like she did in this ridiculous, dumb beach brawl match where they're throwing beach balls and shit at each other and get a highlight out of it just because it's such a cool move, it could be big for her. It could help her get through this weird surfer girl gimmick that they're doing right now and get
What the fuck
somewhere
you
else.
have against the surfer gimmick? It fits her. She looks like a surfer chick.
Okay, but I lived through the generation of the Duke the Dumpster Drozies and the Repo Man, where everyone's character was a job. And I
Is
also,
surfer is Barbie, is her job beach? No.
well, surfing is technically a job, but
I'm gonna fight you on this podcast.
hold on. Also, that
Could be a
surfer
lifeguard.
mentality is why I cannot stand Matt Riddle, that whole like, California
Okay.
surfer dude bullshit. So
No. She is not like that. She's chill in a good way. He's stoner chill and like ridiculous. He's not our kind of white people.
true.
Man, you got to spit the Blair Davenport taking that bump into the mini pool with the and selling that fall onto the little balls or whatever.
They always do it with these types of matches. It's like they do it for Halloween Havoc too, but I can't remember like which one it was. But like they do shit like this all the time. It's just like a fun little gimmick match.
I like the call back on DDP though, Matt. That's a good one there because
Absolutely. Like
he was awesome in the 96, 97 that time period. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And like I said, the way she's pulled the Soul Snatcher out from the corner, from the springboard, different places she can find a way to do it. It's going to be one of those like must-see things. I hate to say this because I'm not a fan of the wrestler, but I would much rather see her end up like DDP than Jeff Hardy. Both had extreme popularity. Jeff Hardy was a one-hit wonder of sorts. He had the one move, the swanton off the ladders, this and that, blah, blah, blah. He fell down very gracefully, and people fucking loved him for it. I'd much rather see her known for the unique way she can pull the move out like DDP was. He could hit that diamond cutter from any position, anywhere in the ring at any time. You never knew if it was coming. That's what I want for Soul in that Soul Snatcher is like, you don't know when it's coming, but when she hits it, holy shit, and it looks cool as fuck.
Yeah, she's got the move, she's got the look. She just needs some meat to the story. So more so than the gimmick. Yeah.
Yep. All right. So originally, when they announced that Roman Reigns was withdrawing from the draft, I had spit it. And then as the night went on, because I was like, fuck you, Roman, for thinking that you can just take yourself out of the draft. Also, I had an issue with free agency last year and the way that they did it. I liked it a couple years ago when like the free agents were trying to compete on Raw or SmackDown for a roster spot. Whereas last year they were just like, I'm a free agent and I'll just show up and wrestle wherever I want. And it's like, that's not really how these things are supposed to work. Like, you can't just be like, I'm a free agent and then go play for the Chargers one week and then the Raiders the next week and then the Bears the next week because you fucking feel like it. That's not how this is supposed to work. So I had an issue with that. However, as the night went on and Solo Sikoa showed up and said, did the bloodline get drafted? And Paul Heyman is like, well, you know, Roman, he pulled out like right before the draft. And then, you know, you guys and the car and the things. And he's like, can you say it to me again as Tama Tonga's coming around and Paul Heyman's shitting his pants. And then Kevin Owens comes in for revenge. They brawl their way through the women's segment out to the ring. Solo comes in. It's a double team. Randy shows up to make the save for KO, who he just recently teamed with. I loved all of it. I'm really, really excited for Solo, Tama, and whatever MFT stands for and where it's going.
Why does nobody know what MFT stands for?
Because they haven't told us.
It's motherfucking Tonga.
Yeah, he put it on Twitter, didn't he?
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
That's what it stood for wherever he's been.
Katie.
I don't
Who are
watch.
you talking to?
There's no fucking excuse. I didn't watch it either. No
100%
excuse. No. Twitter's a thing, my guy.
Twitter is the thing. And the only person that tells me things is Bakley, and Bakley didn't tell me that. So blame Bakley. That's my New Japan Connect. But yeah, no.
I also said it last week.
I thought he said motherfucking Tama, and we were all just debating what it could be. Because what did I say?
You said like, I don't know, something about thumbs. I don't know. I wasn't on the show.
Yeah, because Solo. Yeah, he's my.
Well, now Solo's wearing gloves.
Yeah,
so
yeah. Heyman was my fucking tongue too, wasn't it?
Yeah. Heyman's his fucking tongue. Thomas' his thumb. Like know, all the body parts, all the Solo parts. All right. BC Hunter, spit or swallow.
All right. Well, since Will Gray is in the chat, hi Will, good to see you here. I'm going to swallow TNA wrestling. Traditionally over the years, I was a fan of TNA wrestling. I'm now going to make it a point of catching up on TNA because I'm seeing a lot of good stuff, but I don't care how many buys they got for the pay-per-view. I really don't care because I'm just going to jack it from a free source anyway, so it doesn't matter. So, but and I'm trying to get a hashtag going on Twitter that hashtag TK sent me, so that it's all the people that are pissed off at Tony Khan can now go over to TNA and give them a try, and TK sent you. So hashtag that. And I just want to. I always kind of check in every once in a while to TNA, and now I really wish that some of the people that are getting released would go over there and just so it's not all just sitting on the sidelines in AEW and getting on TV once every 2 months. Like, go somewhere where you're going to get used. I'd love to see like a guy like Jinder Mahal go over there. Like to see Cameron Grimes or whatever his real name is now. I think it's Trevor Lee or whatever. He's a former TV guy, anyways. So yeah, just go over there, get on TV. Look at what Ali is doing. I mean, I don't care. Like, Ali's all over the place, and he's just looked amazing. You got guys like Moose, and you got Dolph over there and stuff like that. So I'm gonna swallow them. I'm gonna give them another try again and watch some stuff, and I'm pretty excited about it because I'm not just a WWE guy. Growing up as a kid, I watched every single second of anything I could get my hands on, whether it was local stuff here or it was world class or UWF or whatever, AWA, even in its crappiest time, I was watching that. But I find right now I just like to have an alternative as well. And so I'm going to give TNA a chance. So TK sent me.
All right. I'm on the border of that. I talked about it last week.
You promised last week you would.
Well, so here's the thing. It's fucking The Godfather, right? Every time I'm out, they pull me back in, right? I'm ready to be out, and then they give me Anna Jay versus Mina Shirakawa. Tony gets dropped, and I'm just ready to be like, fuck this company, fuck it, I'm out. I'm gonna go watch something else. And then they're like, yeah, well, maybe you should tune in next week just to see if you still hate it, because we gave you a little bit of something to hang on. So let them botch this, and I will make that transition and at least give them, what is it, a monthly subscription for $1 over on YouTube. I'll give it a month and see how I like it, and if I like it better, if I'm more invested, I might just do that. I'm not saying might anymore. I'm going to, after the show, I'm going to go pay the $1. On Thursday, I will watch TNA. I will give them a month and see how I feel about it, and then make my decision. Is it AEW or TNA for me going forward? Because everything will still be covered.
Or it can be all of them. It can be all of them, because it's like,
because we do Getting Off, I need one day during the week where I'm not watching wrestling so I can watch other shit. So I have to choose. It's either Wednesdays or Thursdays for me, because WWE is something that I'm a fan of, and I'm not going to miss. They're not disappointing me in any way, shape, or form with the stuff going on. I love NXT. I love Raw, SmackDown. So it's going to be one of the two. I need a Wednesday or a Thursday to get caught up on shit outside of wrestling. I need that one day. So
I just, I hate to see anybody going, and that's the funny thing. Like, contrary to popular belief, nobody truly wants to, who's not insane, wants to see AEW go out of business. They just
No.
want to see things improve in certain areas, and probably want Tony to kind of shut up a little bit more. But it's you got to have some flavor, you got to have some different things. But I'm also not going to like something because people tell me to. So, and that's the other problem with fans now. They're just so insane about this. It's one side or the other, and you have to like this. And this is wrestling. This is pro wrestling. No, it's all wrestling. It's just different types of wrestling. That's all it is. And just because I don't like a certain genre of wrestling doesn't mean I'm not a wrestling fan. So, it's going to give TNA a go again.
Yeah. I mean, I love Breaking Bad.
Like
My
it too,
wife
Will.
can't get into it. I didn't divorce her or hate her because she didn't like a show that I liked. Like, it is what it is. It happens. People have tastes. Some people like this. Some people like that. Some people like a little bit of everything, and they like both. It is what it is. Katie, you know all about that, right?
I like both.
Yeah. What's up, Temple Plays? How are you?
Wow. Dickheads, that's crazy. Also, hi, Justin.
Also, yes, hi, Just. What was I gonna say? You were talking. Oh, yes. So, you're right. Nobody wants to. So I tuned into AEW because a lot of the people that I really like from WWE got released and they went over there, and I was hoping to see them do the things that they weren't going to get the chance to do in WWE. Malachi Black, Keith Lee, a lot of these guys I was really excited for, and then they're not. So the only thing really keeping me now is the women's division. I enjoy a lot of the women over there, and because they're given so little time as is, it's like, okay, well, there's at least one 15 to 20 minute spot in the show that I'm going to enjoy, and I might catch something else fun. But out of 2 hours, that's not a whole lot for me to look forward to, which is why I've been like, I might be out, because Malachi Black is a viable main eventer easily. He has the faction. They're not doing much with it. Same thing, Keith Lee, that reception he had at the Royal Rumble, his run in NXT, all of this stuff. He was there, and he was in a tag team with Dustin Rhodes the last time I saw him. And I feel like that was the last time I fucking saw him. Like, I don't know. I've been fairly disappointed with a lot of talent I hope to see go do big shit that didn't go do big shit, because that's what was supposed to be happening. Adam Cole is still in a wheelchair. We love Adam Cole.
Not.
Oh, he's not in the wheelchair anymore? He got
walking
out? Oh, good.
How dare you? Don't disrespect Adam Cole like that. He's right here.
Is he cleared yet, though?
I don't think so. Not yet. But, he is, walking. So, I mean, he was a little ginger on those steps on Wednesday, but, he's walking now.
Okay. So I've made my thoughts on Brody King pretty clear. Brody King has the look of a man who should hit a lot harder than he does in an AEW ring. And I feel like that's been also a lot of my issue with AEW is I hear all these things about these wrestlers that I haven't seen, and then AEW gives me a presentation that doesn't live up to the hype that I've gotten for a lot of this talent. And everyone's like, well, you should. It's the same argument that I hear with Hogan, and I tell people to go fuck themselves. I'm not going to do it, where they're like, well, Hogan could wrestle, but he could wrestle in New Japan. And it's like, okay, but I'm not going to go watch Hogan in New Japan because I've watched Hogan in WWE and I didn't fucking like it. I'm not going to go out of my way to try and find a way to like him just because he had a couple good matches somewhere else. This is where he is. You should be presenting them as the stars that they are. And Brody King, I feel like, is really fucking soft in the ring for a man his size. And I get it's being safe and all of that, but I want to see him knocking heads off like JBL. That's what I want from a guy that size with that look and that demeanor. I want to see him murdering people in the ring, and he's not.
I mean, he's definitely had a few moments where he has been like that, but for the most part, he is, like you're saying, he's definitely not that.
Can I ask both of you, are you guys Karrion Kross fans?
I don't know. We like Scarlett.
Yeah, we like Scarlett. Karrion Kross, again, same thing, right? He has
that's
that
what I was going to compare it to.
Demeanor,
yeah,
but he doesn't deliver.
His finish is weird.
The finisher is very weird. Now he doesn't deliver on the intensity of the character that they've created. So
that's what my point. It's with the way you describe Brody King is I'm the same way with Karrion Kross. I love the look, love the presentation, love the Scarlet thing going on. But like when he gets in that ring, I feel like he's moving slower. He's not hitting hard enough. There's not that oomph to that stuff. And or like even like the AOP with their finisher, like that. What does that whole collision do in the middle of the ring? Like it's not, So I get where you're coming from with Brody King. It's the same thing I see with Karrion Kross in that way. So it's not like they don't have the potential because they look like they should be killers. Sorry, the pun on his name, but
they're not.
They're not. Yeah, exactly. But they could be. But but you got to find that next gear. Yeah.
He had a small stint in NXT where he dressed up like Triple H in the fucking jean leather jacket, like for 2 weeks. Where I was like, okay, this is the Karrion Kross I can get behind, and they took it away and they put him in the gladiator outfit on the main event, or on the main roster, not main event. And I was like, all right, well, we killed all that. I like Takeshita.
Takeshita's awesome.
Yeah, I love Takeshita. He hits hard. Like that's what I want. That's part of why I went to AEW is like I heard about that strong style, that hard hitting style that we don't see, and I wanted to see guys go knock the shit out of each other. And some of them do, and some of them don't.
As much as you don't really necessarily like him half the time, Ospreay hits pretty fucking hard.
Listen. My beef with Ospreay is purely kayfabe. Great O'Khan is the leader of that faction, not Will Ospreay, because I love the Great O'Khan. It is what it is. I have no issues with Will Ospreay. I really don't. But
can I just add one last thing on the Hogan argument because I saw what Will said there. I'm just going to say the thing for Hogan because, again, put everything outside the ring that's happened over the last few years aside. You don't understand Hogan unless you're a kid in the 80s that grew up watching WWF. Then you understand Hogan. It was a phenomenon. It's no different than a kid today who's watching Will Ospreay and they're loving Will Ospreay, and a bunch of us old heads, as we're called, are just like, he's going too fast. He's not selling. He's not registering. I know, but the kids, they're loving him. And back in the day, we loved Hogan back in the day because of the whole presence and the whole everything, right? And it was a different time. It's like when somebody says, who's the Mount Rushmore? Is Jordan better than Wilt Chamberlain? I didn't see Wilt Chamberlain play, so I can't compare them. I can only compare Jordan to somebody he played against. It's the same thing as with Hogan. It's like people say, well, Hogan sucks, but you weren't there. You didn't see it. You weren't living through that time period when wrestling was so much huger at that time. So it's like, that's my only argument with Hogan. I don't condone anything that he's done or any of the lies he's told or anything, but in the 1980s, it's something different.
So to be fair, I'm kind of the tweener, right? I did grow up and I've told a story. There was a guy, my grandparents owned a bar, and there was a guy that used to come in that looked like Hulk Hogan. My parents told me it was Hulk Hogan. I have a picture with them. I believe that I had met Hulk Hogan as a child for a long time and then found out it wasn't. There was also a dude that looked a lot like fucking Bam Bam Bigelow, and I thought he was Bam Bam Bigelow for a long time. Both those guys at the bar. I'm like, oh, wrestlers are hanging out at our family bar in Chicago Heights. Yeah, okay. However, I have also then gone on to watch everything Hogan has done subsequently. We're working our way through WCW. One of the things that he is most renowned for is his heel work in WCW. And to me, it is all corny and lame, and I fucking hate it. And everything he does is soft. He has the worst chair shot in professional wrestling. So, like, I had the admiration, and I respect everything that he did for professional wrestling and bringing it to the mainstream, the rock and wrestling stuff. But I'm also watching it like, no, fuck this guy. He was terrible and no one knew it. That was the problem. I'm on both sides of the fence.
But again, with that, if you're looking at it now through those eyes, yeah, of course, I look at it, I'm like going, oh, Jesus, that's terrible. But if you're somebody who grew up with watching Hogan in the 80s, just to see him be a heel, you're sitting there going, I can't believe this is going on. Like, that's kind of where I'm coming from with the thing, but it's whatever. Like, again, like I say, I never say, well, somebody's better than somebody I never saw, because I can't say Bruno Sammartino was a shitty champion compared to Roman Reigns, because I didn't watch Bruno. The only thing I saw Bruno Sammartino was in WrestleMania 2 in a battle royal. And I'm sorry, that's not going to be my comparison for it, but it's funny, all the Hogan talk. And I'm just not just talking about Hogan, but any wrestler or anything that goes on. People just, especially, unfortunately, younger fans are just like, oh, this guy sucks because he didn't do this. And it's like, well, you weren't there. You weren't.
Destroyers weren't a thing in the 80s. Like,
yeah. V triggers weren't happening in the 80s. That's the thing. So
it is what it is.
yeah.
No, I get what you're saying. I as 37, like I was in 8th grade when Hogan turned heel. Like it was a big deal. I remember that, and I'm still sitting here like, no, fuck that guy. Rewatching it, I'm like, this is terrible, and I hate him so much. And Travis is the opposite. So that's kind of like the fun is like Travis is making me watch this shit. And he's like, yeah, but it was this and it was that. And I'm like, I know we're the same age. I grew up with you. I was there when it happened. I still fucking hate it, and I hate all of it. Dungeon of Doom is the worst fucking thing in professional wrestling to this day.
It was. Dungeon of Doom was even at
terrible.
the time we said that. I was 21 when Hogan turned heel. So for me, it was a bit of a different experience, right?
Yeah,
so,
true.
Yeah.
All right. We're gonna wrap this up. We're gonna go around because I completely lost track of where we were. So I'm just gonna hit everyone one more spit or swallow, and then we'll end the show because I know it is getting late up there in the Great White North for you. So
only round one.
Katie, spit or swallow.
I'm going to. You know, fuck, we brought it up. I'm gonna swallow Osprey winning that casino gauntlet, whatever the fuck match thing they had. They kept saying that, oh, we don't know how many people are gonna be here. We don't know how many, like, who's gonna be coming out. I went downstairs to get a snack, and I missed Kyle O'Reilly come in and Osprey come in. I was like, damn it, I missed the theme. You know I love the theme, and I'm very mad about it. But I'm okay with it being Osprey versus Roddy at Double or Nothing for the title. Shitty little boots, Roderick Strong, Will Ospreay, Adam Cole's kind of in the mix a little bit. They all came out. Kyle Fletcher hates Don Callis because Don Callis is a bitch. So, like, I'm okay with, like, Will Ospreay having a little bit of backup in his corner, Roddy having the entire Undisputed Kingdom shit. I'm going to be all right with this build because it'll be entertaining, at least in my eyes. So I'll swallow Ospreay taking a win.
All right. Again, I missed that part. I heard he won, but I missed like the whole thing.
It was a time.
It was a time. I'm stuck. Do I throw Vince a bone and swallow something, or do I go with my gimmick and swallow the family?
See, I didn't swallow the family because I knew you were going to swallow the family.
All right. I'm going to do a double here then. Swallowing the family, getting the win over the No Quarter Catch crew in that 6-man tag on Spring Break-In. I have said this. I would love to see a man who knows about Heritage, Tony D'Angelo, holding that Heritage Cup and getting a single something to get him going in NXT. But I just love the family. But also for Vince, I'm swallowing the reveal that it was Carlito. We all knew it was coming. We knew it was Carlito.
All knew it was Carlito.
And he immediately then loses his shit, attacks Dragon Ball E, shoves him into Ray, hits him with a backstabber, runs away, terrified.
Like, why do you run away like that? Like, there's evidence you did it, bro. Why are you acting like that? You ran away like a chicken.
If you get pulled into your boss's office and then they pull up footage of you, taking money out of the cash register, you're not just going to sit there and be like, all right, you got me. Like, you're going to fucking throw something at your boss and run the fuck out of there so you don't get arrested. Like, I get it. You got to get out. Like, you've been caught. Now it's time to escape.
I've been caught in a lie and I got fired from a job firm and I took that shit on the chin and I moved on with my life. Like,
well, we are different people, Katie. I'm throwing stuff in his face and running out the door before they can call the cops.
I mean, this was also like in college and my boss was an asshole. So, and I was like 20, so it's different.
Fair. But yeah, no, the Carlito reveal, which we all knew was coming, but I enjoyed the way they did it. And then obviously, anytime the Don wins is a swallow. DC Hunter, close us out. Spit or swallow.
We need more smoke bombs in wrestling. Like, that's what Carlito needed there. Just drop a smoke bomb and away he goes, right?
After watching the Ultimate Warrior appear and disappear in a cloud of smoke for the last month, I don't know if I agree with that.
Oh my. All right, this is kind of a spit and a swallow, but it's I'm spitting dirt sheets and all these wrestling journalists, except for, of course, Will Gray, who's a wrestling journalist and stuff like that, because I'm so sick and tired of seeing just the conjecture and all that stuff online and from these dirt sheet writers and the Sean Ross Sapps of the worlds and the Meltzers of the worlds and the Solos in the world and all these different people who are just us. They're just fans who don't have a clue what's going on. And half of the podcasts out there, which is my Swallow podcasts like this and lots of independent podcasts that are out there, are doing 10 times as good a job as what they're doing. So for all the JDs from New York that are about to have a hemorrhage while he's screaming, and the Shamrash Saps who's bullying people online and all this stuff and all the craziness, like, just enough with this stuff. Just go watch some of these shows and enjoy these shows, because fans are fans. That's all it is. And no matter, even if this person supposedly has an in with what's going on backstage, it's wrestling. They can kayfabe and just change the story on the go. So just to make the guy look bad. So why are you paying money to those people? Support your local independent podcast, because we need the money more than those guys do. So there.
We love shouting out our friends. Our boys over at Young Kings Wrestling will tell you, don't pay $13 for rumors and speculation, especially when you can pay $1 and get 3 great shows over at our Patreon. Save yourself $12 and be entertained. So yeah, no, I agree. Thanks for the plug, or the segue to the plug. I appreciate that. BC Hunter, what was your favorite show you watched this week?
I'm gonna say probably NXT, the Spring Breakin'. It's probably my favorite show of the week. The Trick Williams win. There's some fun stuff going on. That of the shows, I found SmackDown a little draggy, Raw a little draggy. It's one of my problems with the draft. I don't want the draft to have 3 weeks in between it, because it feels like a holding pattern. I think you should do it right after WrestleMania. Let's start the new season right away and get going on that. So these shows have felt draggy, but NXT was fun. I had some fun watching that, between the Dawn and all the different stuff going on, the ladies matches that we had going on. There's some pretty talented women down in NXT, and their segments are pretty fun too. So yeah, best show of the week.
Hell yeah. And to your point, that Raw after WrestleMania would feel important again if it started the draft, because it hasn't felt important for years. It used to be a big deal, and it's not. But if it's draft night right after WrestleMania, after all the stories are finished, that would make Raw after WrestleMania feel cool again. So I'm with you.
I would have had a much better time.
Yeah.
Draft, but no, it's fine.
No, after Cody taking all those bows at WrestleMania, and then he comes out and takes more bows, it's like, no, let's get into stories. I need stories. Let's go.
I was cool with Cody, but like, I don't understand why the fuck Dwayne came out and they swapped belts. That shit, I was like, can I leave?
That was awkward.
It was a terrible time.
Are we? Is this a unanimous decision, Katie? Was it?
Yeah. The fuck? Come on. NXT killed it this week. Spring Breakin', Trick, the women's triple threat, which we didn't even talk about. Roxanne, Tatum, and Lyra. Tatum's fucking awesome. I love everything she's doing. Roxanne sneaks the win out. Just everything they're doing in NXT, I have been loving, and I do love. And Spring Breakin' Part 2 next week. What other crazy shit's gonna happen? Who knows? But yeah, it's NXT, dude.
The most excited I've been for a natty match in a long time. Next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lila's gonna kick her ass.
Well, as per the Wrestling with the Truth podcast, the She League Showcase, and Smackin It Raw, NXT Spring Breakin' Night 1 was the best show of the week. I want to thank you guys for joining us. BC Hunter, please tell them all about Wrestling with the Truth, where they can find you and all of your stuff.
Yeah, so I got a couple of things going on. So it's Wrestling with the Truth for your modern takes on wrestling. That's audio only. Just go to wherever you find your audio podcast. It's there. If you want to find me on Twitter, it's at WWTT Pod. And then I'm on Instagram for that as well. And I also have on a YouTube, I have Wrestling with the 80s, because I am an old guy and I enjoy 80s wrestling. So I do have the YouTube channel where I'm covering all 80s all the time. And again, on Twitter, it's it's WT80s, and then on Instagram, Wrestling with the 80s, and then there's a Facebook group as well for Wrestling with the 80s if you want to join that and talk 80s wrestling.
There you go.
Yeah.
Katie, showcases and things. She lead us.
showcase has happened. Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter, CaterAssin13. The link tree I'm about to take you all things She Elite Showcase, twitch.tv/She Elite Showcase, and youtube.com/She Elite Showcase. Typically Thursdays, 6 p.m. Easternish. It's like 6:15, 6:30. I just wrote something today about Chad Gable being not the bad guy in this scenario on my Substack, which is in that link tree if you want to go check that out. I'll have something on our Patreon on Monday, finally, that I've been teasing for months, but I was busy. My sister got married last week. I'm a busy guy. So, yeah, that'll be up. And we're doing Getting Off tomorrow, which Matt will talk about.
That is correct, ladies and gentlemen. You can follow me on Twitter at Matt Riddler, MattRidder, for your wrestling, at Getting Off for your horror content, and everywhere else on social media at Smackin It Raw. That is TikTok, Threads, Instagram, Blue Sky, all those places. I've got them all, but I mostly a little bit of Instagram, mostly TikTok and Twitter if you guys want to get at me. We also have a Facebook group, facebook.com/group/Smackin It Raw, where we talk current day wrestling. We've got polls and all sorts of things. Travis wants me to plug that more, so I'm going to plug that more because it is there. It does exist. We do have it, and it is a very laid back, chill, drama-free place to talk current wrestling without all of the bullshit and the tribalism and all of that. It's just, we talk about wrestling, we talk about what we like, we have fun with it, and we don't allow bullshit. So don't come in there with bullshit because we will kick you out. But Getting Off tomorrow, 10 p.m. Central, 11 p.m. Eastern. We are joined by the Will Gray and Reek of the Young Kings Wrestling Podcast. 3 of the 4 members of the Core 4 will be there, including Katie, me, and Reek. Just unfortunately got scheduled to work Monday, so he's not going to be able to make it. But we are spitting and swallowing the Devil's Rejects trilogy. Ladies and gentlemen, House of 1,000 Corpses, The Devil's Rejects, and 3 from Hell. And this is the first time Katie has ever watched all 3 of these movies. So you get her fresh perspective on that, as well as me, Reek, and Will, who have watched them probably
800 fucking times.
Yeah, exactly. So come join us for that. Hear her thoughts on those movies, her experience with the Rob Zombie trilogy, and our thoughts, our likes and our dislikes, all of that tomorrow right here, Twitch and YouTube, 10 p.m. Central, 11 p.m. Eastern. For Wrestling with the Truth's BC Hunter and Wrestling with the 80s BC Hunter, Miss Katie Kinsey Bebe. I am the patron saint of podcasting, the Warden Matt Ritter. This has been your #1 wrestling podcast on places where you can find people having sex on the internet. All right. You are more than welcome to hang out. It's
Oh, give him a second.
There we go.
It's
Yep,
happened
there it
times.
is. Once during the show.
Once or
during the post, it's fine.
twice during a show.
But like I said, you're more than welcome to hang out with us as long as you want. It's not going to be a long post show. Because I found out I got a new phone. I got the Apple iPhone 15, and apparently it does a weird thing with the alarms, because I set an alarm and it never went off, and then I checked it and it was like going off, but it wasn't playing the sound. And I got to get up early to talk WCW tomorrow with Travis. So I'm going to try and get some sleep tonight since I didn't get any last night. But we'll hang out and bullshit for a little bit. Thank you for coming on. It was cool. Finally, after, like I said, we did our thing a couple of years ago to have you on in this format and do this, because I don't even, like I said, I don't even think when we hung out the last time we were using this format. So
right on. Yeah, no, I appreciate you having me on. Hopefully I didn't bring the ratings down for the show, but yeah, it's tough to watch some of the stuff that's going on, but I'm always going to watch WWE. Just what the hell. And my son's getting into it now, so he's 12, so he's kind of in that zone where he's starting to enjoy wrestling. So that keeps me watching it. But even he's like, I'm not so sure about this AEW stuff.
So I was talking about this. It's crazy. So like, we did WrestleMania. I went to Tennessee. So my best friend John, who I've known since I was 3, who showed up on trivia on Thursday, Will surprised me. long story short, Will and John have a lot in common. They got along, and I told them that because they both live in Tennessee and they're not far from each other, they're not allowed to become best friends and cut me out. So Will thought it would be funny to bring him on the show and then them just to talk about how much they love each other to fuck with me. But anyway, we went down to Tennessee. We did a WrestleMania weekend. I rented a cabin that was once owned by Johnny and June Cash. Will and Allison came out. John and Caroline came out. And then John's older brother, who's about a year older than us, and his wife also were out visiting, and they came out, and they're not wrestling fans. So like they showed up for WrestleMania. Jordan used to watch WrestleMania a while ago, or wrestling a while ago, but like hasn't really got into it. And to watch them like see what was going on and get excited about it. And like Shelly had a bunch of questions. They left after night one and stopped in Indianapolis on their way back up here because they live out by me. And they actually went in their hotel and got on Peacock and watched night two and were texting us about what was going on. Like that was cool to see. My wife's best friend, Danny, has recently gotten into wrestling with everything that's been going on. And same thing. She's like, I don't know how I feel about AEW and I get too confused with what's going on. So I think I'm just going to stick to WWE because I like a lot of what I'm seeing there. So like, it's cool to see all of these people that I've known that like, as I've been doing this podcast for going on damn near 8 years now, where they're like, oh, you do a wrestling podcast? Oh, okay. And now they're like, oh, this wrestling stuff's kind of cool. It's like, yeah, I've been trying to tell you guys that for 8 fucking years, but thanks for catching on now. No, it's been cool. It's been fun to watch. So
yeah, it's like my wife watched her first WrestleMania this year, and she quite enjoyed it too. And she got into a lot of the matches and stuff like that. And she could follow along with the story with most of the stuff because WWE does an amazing job of catching people up that way, right? Because they know that they're playing to the casuals and stuff. So it's funny, like people. They'll think because you criticize something that you don't watch and you're one of those people that from the sideline goes, oh, this sucks because I heard somebody say that this guy's from New Japan or something. It's like, I tried because I have a wrestling podcast to watch AEW and there was stuff that I liked and there was stuff that I didn't like. And then the stuff that I didn't like was becoming more and more, but yet there's still stuff that I'll see, like I watched Bryan and Ospreay and enjoyed the match, right? Yeah, was there some points where it was a little bit they should have sold more? Sure, I can critique that, but I can critique that on WWE as well. There's a lot of that going on there, but I did enjoy that stuff, and I understood there didn't need to be a story because their story is who's the best wrestler. That's it. Okay, I get that stuff. I enjoyed Joe and Swerve as well. That was pretty good. But some other stuff, you're not gonna like. But I get a kick out of when somebody who's online and they're like probably started watching 2019 and they say you're not a wrestling fan if you don't enjoy this, and it's like I've been watching wrestling since 1982 or something. I think I am a wrestling fan. I just have what I like and there's stuff that I don't like. Yeah.
Whoa.
I want to do.
That's the real one.
I can still hear you. I do a post-show bathroom breaks.
He'll be back. This is every week. It's fun.
It's number one.
It's usually I usually know. Was Nick Nemeth always AAA champion, or did he just win this?
I think he just won that.
Let me look. Bakley seems to always know. Nick Nemeth. I still call him Ziggles, just because it's easier.
That's going to live with him forever. Just one tonight. Yeah, it's like,
just one tonight. Look at that. That's pretty cool. Ziggles winning titles and stuff. Yeah, it's like he'll always be Ziggles, and then his brother was always Baby Ziggles.
I like
it. Fucking Alberto's bitch. Ugh. Gross. Oh, yeah. AAA Mania was today.
Is that why you weren't here to answer our question, Bakley, about what UFC number we're on? Because we've been waiting for 2 hours for that answer.
Oh my god, I forgot about that. Actually, I could have looked it up.
I didn't forget about that.
I could have looked it up.
So yeah, what UFC number are they going to be on around the time that NXT does the thing with the UFC?
So around June.
Or WrestleMania next year. I wonder what they'll be at.
So June of this year or end of April / beginning of May next year.
Also, so we have a thumbnail, and the thumbnail is going to be that picture that's been floating around of Tony Khan on his knee in front of Okada with Matt and Nick like holding him where it looks like
Oh,
Tony Khan
yeah.
giving Okada a blowjob. We figured that out. What did you write down for possible titles and bullet points?
I only have 2 possible titles because I don't know how to speak. Losters get rocked because I'm illiterate. And then you said it, and I wrote down all the solo parts.
I
Because you were
think
talking
with
about
that
his
thumbnail,
thumb
all
and
the
tongue
solo
and-
parts might be it with
thanks, dude.
that thumbnail.
Got you. Where are you? There's your name. You don't. Oh.
UFC Fight Night will be in Louisville the night NXT. Okay, but like, what UFC number are we on? That's what I want to know.
We're trying to figure out if it's a major one that would coincide with WrestleMania. So, do we see them actually combine the two?
I don't know what other, like. I didn't rate any like other bullet points or anything. Do you want me to just send you what I have?
Yeah,
Okay.
I feel
All
like
right. So it would
I
be
might
302.
is June 1st. Okay, so that's right before NXT.
Mm-hmm.
Because you did say that they just hit 300, and you remember that. So
Yeah. Well, Hulk Hogan's side note, that was his weight for most of his career, 302. So there's a tie-in with Hogan.
I will say this run into Fall Brawl 1998 hasn't been terrible. There was a lot of stuff I enjoyed. It's just a weird point in WCW where like we got to the pay-per-views and a lot of the matches didn't have a build.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I'm getting into fun shit. Like we're getting into Jericho Goldberg, right?
Yeah.
Ew.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know about this?
Ew. How's that
Well,
fun?
Oh,
because
was
there
great.
was a whole thing in WCW with Chris Jericho before he sucked, where he would come out and he would mock Goldberg. So like Goldberg had his entrance with security.
I didn't know this.
And he'd call him Greenberg and he'd challenge him to matches and go. It would be nights where Goldberg wasn't there. And
Yes.
he'd tout how he's like 1-0, 2-0, so on over Goldberg. So we're
Yes.
into that stuff. So like that stuff's fun. Like
I feel like I talked about that with Pretty Kyle for an episode.
Yeah.
This is where
There's some good
Ralphus
shit.
gets introduced, isn't it?
Ralphus was there. Yep.
Yeah. The Jericho
Ralphus
security.
was the security guard. Yeah. So he had Ralphus and he had the Jericho Ninja. He did the entrance. He got lost backstage, ended up outside, never made it out for his match against Wrath.
Pure callback to Spinal Tap, which was great.
Yep.
I don't WCW unless I have to.
I know you've only WCW'd the one time, and then you've asked not to ever again. Speaking of Pretty Kyle, I don't know if he's still here, but I've still got a title to win. I'm that Sheamus.
You were on a show last. It's my turn. Fuck you. It's my turn.
That's not how that works, Katie.
That's how that works.
First.
No.
So Kyle covers WCW, ECW, WWE from the Attitude Era, WWE from the Ruthless Aggression Era, and then also
Ring of Honor,
and Progress.
Progress.
And I recently just did a Ring of Honor with him. I've done a TNA with him. I've done WWE Attitude and Ruthless Aggression Era, and I've done ECW a few times. So if I can do a Progress and I can do a WCW, which I have to go back and watch shit that I don't want to watch again because I just got through that 96 shit and it was rough. I will be the only person, I think. I'd be the Grand Slam apron bump reviewer champion. That's my goal here.
Unless Charlie has beat both of us, which is very fucking possible. Charlie's on that show more than anybody.
Charlie doesn't exist. He's not a real person. He's made up.
He's just in Kyle's basement.
Doesn't count. Yeah.
I've done WCW, ECW, TNA, both WWEs, and I think that's it.
You need Ring of Honor in Progress. I need WCW in Progress.
I will fight you on this, Matt.
Hey, listen. Maybe what we should do is we should talk to Pretty Kyle. You and I can both come on for a Progress episode and knock that out. And then we'll have to figure out something to see who gets the last episode, either WCW or the Ring of Honor.
Deal. We'll talk to
Trivia contest. You got to have a trivia contest for it or something.
No,
We are both trivia champions.
I'm currently a champion in 2 things right now.
So am I.
I'm getting off and boss bitch. What is yours?
I had the wallop.
Yeah.
And then I did another fucking trivia and I won. I can't remember what it was.
Trivia? I don't know when you did trivia.
I have to go back and look, but I know I did trivia and I won.
I
was
know,
also
reigning and defending right now, so
I miss Smacked Raw's
unpopular wrestling opinions.
Yes. That was that was a time in my life that I miss.
You were very vocal on that show. That was my first interaction with you.
I'm sorry for that.
Seeing who you were as a person, and then I came on your show, and then you were nice to me, and then the second time I was on your show, it was game over.
I'm always nice the first time.
And here we are now. 4 years later.
But
I did Kyle's show recently, and it was Halloween Havoc 96, and I almost had a panic attack because I thought it was going to be 95, and I was like, oh shit, the monster trucks won.
Yeah.
But luckily it was 96, so that wasn't so bad.
Yeah. 97 is probably their best. I do love Halloween Havoc. It's one of my favorite pay-per-views.
It's a fun one. Yeah.
And so are you of the, because I've heard Eric Bischoff, I believe, say that he felt like Halloween Havoc was their WrestleMania. And then Dusty kind of made Starrcade. That was the idea with Starrcade and everything like that. So are you of the ilk that Starrcade is WCW's WrestleMania?
Starrcade was NWA's WrestleMania. And then when Bischoff took over, I do think that he made Halloween Havoc their WrestleMania. Yeah. But before Bischoff, Starrcade for sure was their WrestleMania.
Oh,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that was Dusty's goal. And me and Travis have debated that a lot because I'm like, well, I heard him say this and I like Halloween, so I'm going to go with this. And he's like, no, it's Starrcade. Like,
yeah.
The biggest matches happen at Starrcade. That's where you got Sting Hogan and blah, blah, blah. But.
Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, you got some good stuff at Halloween Havoc over the years, too. But, yeah, it's just.
Actually.
Yeah.
So the way I do notes for Return to Wrestling is I go look up the card because we're doing Nitros and Thunders now, and it's a fucking lot.
That's
right?
what I was doing with our show, too. Ooh, yeah.
It's a lot. So I go and I look up the card and I write down the matches. And then as I'm watching it, I just fill in the stuff that kind of pertains to the build of the matches. And then I have like a section for other shit that I found interesting that may not have anything to do with the matches.
Yeah.
But I'm curious because I think it's next. What? Halloween. Warrior is at Halloween Havoc 98, isn't it? That's him and Hogan in the singles match. Isn't that where like we get the fucking head in a box?
Jesus. I think so. It's been a while since I saw that one. We stopped but I was just getting into 96 when Jay left the podcast, so we were kind of stopped there. And I was like, God, I slogged through 95 for this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I'm just trying to remember offhand. Let me just see.
We got Bret Hart versus Sting, Hall versus Nash, Hogan versus Warrior, Goldberg versus DDP, Rick Steiner versus Scott Steiner, Kidman versus Disco Inferno. Disco Inferno has 2 matches.
What?
Yeah,
Too many.
There's a couple people. So I think the first match is a number 1 contenders match for a cruiserweight title match later on that night.
Gotcha. Sure.
Because we also have Rick Steiner and Buff Bagwell versus Scott Steiner and the Giant, and then Rick Steiner versus Scott Steiner. So
brother versus brother.
The first thing I see is a review saying that the Hogan Warrior match was a stain on the pay-per-view.
But I do believe, if I remember correctly, it was Warrior who like gave Hogan a gift, like they did a birthday for Hogan, and he got a box. He's like, "Oh, what's in the box?" And it's like a molded head of Hulk Hogan that Hogan opens up in a box, and I think it was from Warrior. So I think that's in the lead up to Halloween Havoc. So I'm kind of excited for that. There's a lot of stuff that I remember from WCW, but like I wasn't actively watching it live when it happened. I may have caught stuff here or there, or I watched it later, or I saw it in documentaries and stuff. So there's a lot of stuff that I'm kind of seeing how it plays out, because I was definitely more, especially in 1998, I was all in on WWF at this point. Like they were giving me everything a 13-year-old boy could have wanted. 11-year-old boy, because I was born in 87. Yeah. Everything an 11-year-old boy could have wanted. Sable was out there. We were doing things. So
that's all you have to say.
I forgot. Yeah, that's the Goldberg Page match where the feed cut out before the end. Yeah.
So Goldberg wrestled Diamond Dallas Page in the main event, and they cut the feed. So the next night on Nitro, they had to give the main event of the pay-per-view away for free on Nitro, because all the people that paid for it were asking for refunds because they didn't get the conclusion to the main event match.
Not surprising.
But they did get the Hogan Warrior match. So, yeah.
Yeah. Good for them.
That's terrible. Yeah,
One
the rest
Warrior
of it looks
Nation.
Fine. The OWN. Yeah. God. That was such...
No, it's been a time. Also, I don't know why, but I was under the impression that by this time, Diamond Dallas Page had won a World Heavyweight Championship, and he has not.
No.
And he's one of those rare occasions where it's like he's so over. Actually, I don't know how over he is when he actually does win it, because I know at some point he like forms the Jersey Triad with Canyon and Bam Bam Bigelow. And that's not a high point in Diamond Dallas Page's career. So,
no. Let's see. When did he win it? Not the next pay-per-view.
I am a whore.
Yeah, it wasn't for a while because they were doing the whole Goldberg thing.
Yeah, Goldberg has to lose to Nash, and then Nash has to do the finger poke of doom. And then at some point, eventually, I don't know if we're going to watch WCW long enough for me to see DDP win that title. I'm going to be honest with you.
Because that's Spring Stampede.
99 Spring Stampede, I'm assuming then?
Mm-hmm.
Because they only went to 2001. Like, and March of 2001. We didn't even get far into 2001. That's when we got like Greed and Mayhem and...
Yeah, that's what it was. He beat Flair at Spring. Yeah, because, oh my God, they had the whole Hogan Flair exchanging the title back and forth prior to that after the finger poke of doom. So, yeah.
See, this is why I'm happy I don't watch WCW.
It's funny though, like everybody talks about the finger. My son mentioned it today because he's. I keep telling him, stop giving your opinion based on what you're hearing on like TikTok or whatever this stuff is, right? And because you know how it is, people say one thing, and so that's what it is. But he was talking about the finger poke of doom, and he's talking about they lose 500,000 viewers. But I said, yes, they did. But what a lot of people forget to mention is that those viewers went back and turned the channel back after the Foley thing, because WCW always did a longer overrun. So it's like they lost them for that time period, and then they came back. But still, the stupidest thing you could possibly do ever, besides Tony Khan calling somebody Harvey Weinstein. But other than that, but yeah.
So which part of that do you think is stupid?
For the
finger poke of doom, was it the saying Foley wins and losing the viewers, or the actual? Because a lot of people say, "Oh, this is their finger poke." Like the finger poke of doom gets a negative connotation, but I argue, it's the most NWO thing.
Yes, exactly. It's what Triple H and Shawn Michaels did for the European title. It's so I didn't have a problem with that. It was the stupidity of them saying, "Oh, by the way, Mick Foley's winning the championship tonight," Like, what the hell are you doing? That's like just dumb. People are going to turn the channel. So yeah, that's the stupid move there. Yeah. It's just that they call it the finger poke of doom because of what happened.
Yeah. So, yeah, I've never had an issue with that, and everyone talks about it so negatively. I'm like, honestly, it makes full sense to me. Like, I've been watching this NWO run. There is nothing more NWO than doing that and being like, "We got you. We're back together." Yeah, like fuck you guys.
And I think people were actually kind of excited about that. It's like, finally, we can just get them all back together instead of these two different groups. But yeah,
I think, you know what, because we talked about this, Katie. One of the last things we're gonna do for WCW is we're gonna watch. I told Travis I want to watch Bash at the Beach 2000, where because I've seen it a million times, but Russo going off on Hulk Hogan and that whole thing.
Yeah.
But I think the last episode I've told Travis is that I want to do is I just want to watch the Raw and Nitro from the night that the last Nitro aired. And maybe so I don't have to force you through a month's worth of Nitros and Thunders, I'll bring you on for that episode of Return to Wrestling where you only have to watch those two and we talk about that.
I'm in. Say less. I only have to watch 2 things. I'm in.
Because I know Travis wanted to go. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
I was going to say Travis was hoping we were going to go Attitude Era Raw and kind of start in like 96 and work our way up to where we left off in WCW and then maybe beyond. But we did a poll and 2014 NXT starting there and working our way through one, mostly because Travis didn't watch any of that and missed all of the black and gold stuff. So like I get to enjoy watching him see all the shit that I loved, whereas right now he's enjoying me watching all the shit that he knows I'm going to hate.
I'm down for anything when you guys do that.
Yeah. What were we going to say?
No, I was going to say that there you go. There's another botch job right there. Was the way that whole last episode was handled. Like WCW actually did a great job with that episode. WWE, they didn't really capitalize off any of that stuff, right? Like it was like McMahon was too happy just to have one instead of going, how can I make money with that? Which is very un-McMahon like. It's like he's always the guy. It's like, okay, now how can I make money with this stuff? But it's more like it was just gloating and that was it.
It was weird that he won and then proceeded to have to bury WCW as far down as he could.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to take it and utilize it. Like making a point, kayfabe TV-wise, that this product has always been inferior to mine. None of these wrestlers deserve to be on my roster. Triple H is going to beat them all when they show up. Like it was a very weird thing because we talked about it. Even the guys that have kind of succeeded, like Booker T, right? Everyone had to lose to Triple H before they could be rebuilt in the WWE image. Scott Steiner lost to Triple H. Goldberg lost to Triple H. Booker T lost to Triple H. Sting lost to Triple H and then never got the ability to get rebuilt back. When all they had to do was give us Sting versus Taker. That's all we wanted. That's all we needed. Vince refused to do that. Gave us some shit that didn't even make sense because Sting wasn't ever actually part of that version of the NWO black and white. Yeah, he was in black and red with Nash, but like he didn't fuck with Hogan or Hall that entire time. So like getting him in that NWO didn't even make, like having the NWO come out to have his back against DX didn't make any fucking sense. Like,
yeah, the only thing people wanted was Sting and Taker. That was it. That's all we needed to see.
All I've ever wanted in wrestling. I could watch that and just never watch wrestling again.
Yeah,
but no,
but no,
never getting it.
And I'll give that's something I'll give AEW credit for. They did a great job with Sting in that last match too. That was
I agree with you on what you said about AEW. There was a reason I was excited for AEW. I've been on the fence, and that's what I love about doing this, right? So like Vince doesn't really like AEW, doesn't watch AEW. You've expressed your feelings about it. Me and Katie have kind of been on the fence about AEW. But we've had like Heels for Life come on who absolutely love AEW. They're not fans of WWE. We have fans who love WWE and don't like AEW. We have fans that like TNA. Or podcasters, not fans. Fans of TNA. Fans of the NWA. Like we can get everyone in. Fans of New Japan. Like Bakley will come on and will be like, "Oh yeah, this happened on New Japan, this, that. Warren Hayes has been on, and I've asked Warren to spit or swallow a few times, and he talks about New Japan stuff, and then I make fun of all the wrestlers' names, and we have a good little laugh. I miss Warren.
Yeah.
But like, that's what's fun about this show, and like when we started doing it this way instead of it like being a recap show for just like Raw, AEW is like everyone comes in, they get to talk about what they like, they get to talk about what they don't like, and it's never really a fight. Like there's no tribalism or like fuck you, AEW so good, or fuck you, WWE so better, or blah blah blah. Like it's just, this is what I liked, this is what I didn't like, this is what you like, this is what you didn't like, and that's what the wrestling community should fucking be. Is you're allowed to like things, you're allowed to not like things, and it doesn't have to be a fight because someone doesn't like something you do, right?
And
all
it's
just coexist.
It's okay to laugh at something too. Like you can make fun of something stupid. I do it for WWE stuff as well because they do a lot of stupid things at times. It's been better since Triple H has been doing the booking for stuff, but they've done a lot of dumb, ridiculous, and they've done stuff I hate and all that. And just because you point out something that was stupid on something else doesn't mean that you're calling every person who watches it stupid. It's just like, yeah, that segment was dumb. It's like, it's okay to laugh at that, but and then the whole thing about like, well, you're not a wrestling fan. It's like, my God, come on, guys. Like it number one, it's wrestling. That's it. That's all it is. This isn't life.
Yeah.
So I've told people, I'm like, I'm not a wrestling fan. I am a TV show fan. And to me, professional wrestling in the state of AEW, WWE, WCW, ECW, TNA, the major promotions that are on, I just knocked my phone over. The major promotions that are on television, they're TV shows to me. I said last week, personally, me, I don't view wrestling as a sport. I view it as a TV show with live action stunts performed. And that's not taking away from the athleticism. It's not saying, oh, because it's not a sport, you're not athletes. They are absolutely athletes. They're some of the best athletes in the world. They do things that high-paid NFL, NBA, NHL, and MLB players, the things that they do to their body, half of those people don't do it. And they don't do it 365 days a year. These people are athletic as fuck, even if they don't look like it. Like your Mick Foley's and your Kevin Owens, they don't have that athletic body. They're still so fucking athletic and so amazingly talented. I'm not taking away from it. I did say that indie wrestling wasn't, but that to me, like if WWE is television and AEW is television, it's a TV show. Those are plays at like your local community. It's community theater. Community shows
theater,
are community theater. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Same vein, a little different.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It just, me and Will were talking about it. And one of the hardest things about podcasting and being in this community is all of that bullshit where like you have friends who are fighting over what shows they do and don't like. And it's like, how do you take sides? Like how do you say, oh yeah, no, you don't want to take sides. We're not side takers. We like everything. So like it sucks watching everyone clash and fight and over dumb shit when we should all just be enjoying it.
Yeah, it's like, I always try to think back to like the 90s. I don't remember hating WCW, even though I was a WWF fan at the time. It suck seeing them lose somebody who was a free agent? Yeah, but then you're like, well, let's see what's going to happen over here. That's what's going to happen. Kind of like you said, like people like Malachi Black and stuff like that, right? Yeah, I wanted to see him do something amazing over in AEW that he wasn't allowed to do in WWE because I really was digging that character. I still, to this day, as like when they were doing that right before he left, they were doing those vignettes with that dark shadow. I'm like, that's the Undertaker. He's going to be like an acolyte of the Undertaker, and then he's going to become the next Undertaker or something like that. And I was like so excited for it, and it's like, oh wait, no, he's gone. That's it, right?
So many missed opportunities.
Oh, and I'm like. But it's okay too as a fan. It's okay, folks, if you are kind of excited or cheer for the idea of him coming back and being underneath Triple H, because Triple H will know how to book him. But just like I'm fine with somebody like say Adam Cole going to AEW because I think they'll do things better with him, than WWE ever will because they have a certain perspective of what they like to do. It's. I don't get that either, where people get freaked out if you like from day one. The moment I saw Jade Cargill come on the screen on AEW, I always said, she will be a freaking star when she hits WWE. And it's not because I think AEW are a bunch of assholes that don't know what they're doing. It's just because she's perfect for what WWE does. The case in point, Bianca Belair. She is the mold that WWE does, and they will turn her into this mega star. And good on her that she went to AEW first and got a name for herself so she could get attractive. But that's not a negative to say that. Just like it's like seeing Trevor Lee so despondent about getting cut from WWE, and I get it. That was his dream job, but he will be so much better in AEW or TNA or wherever he goes to because they'll use him right. They're not WWE was never going to use him except to get eaten alive by a bunch of big guys and stuff like that. So yeah, it's people get freaked out about that.
Run in NXT. He had his moments, his time, and the $1 million, the crypto, and all of that. The GameStop stocks. We had a fun time with him. He did his thing, and sometimes that's in WWE. That's what you get as a wrestler. You get your bright moment, you get your spot, and then when it goes away, it goes away. I am not a fan of. So I say I prefer WWE, but I prefer WWE because of the way they book a lot of the wrestlers and what I enjoy on TV. In the end, I am not. It's not like I'm a Bears fan and I hate the Packers, or I'm a Sox fan and I hate the Cubs. I am a fan of players, and I want to see my players, the players that I'm fans of, in the best position possible. And if I can't see them booked the way I want to see them, I at least want to see them doing what they love and being happy. So like you said, Adam Cole is over there with his friends and his fiance, wife, girlfriend still. They're not married yet. Okay.
Still girlfriend.
His girlfriend doing what he wants to do and, loving. If Adam Cole is happy, regardless of how he's booked or if he ever gets a world title or not, if he's happy doing what he's doing over there, then I'm happy for Adam Cole. If Malachi Black's happy with what's going on, would I love to see him get the run that I saw him get in NXT, but on a bigger stage? Absolutely. It'd be utilized that way. But if he's happy doing what he's doing, I'm happy for him. Do your thing. Run the House of Black stuff. Just whatever you're doing, be happy in what you're doing, and I'm happy for you. But I'm a fan of the players. I'm not a fan of the brand.
Yep, exactly. Nor do I like I want to see the evil giant WWE go out of business either. It's like that's not good for anybody. No matter what, there's nobody ever going to reach the heights that WWE. They've got too much of a head start. And that's good for the business to have somebody that's that big and that much exposure, because it leads to these other companies that are going to sponge on that basically. I'm the same way. It's like I want to see what works for guys. Just like somebody like Miro, for example, right? I knew as soon as he left, he was going to AEW. I'm like, shit, they're not going to use him well, and it's not going to go well. The only time they did use him well was when he had the TNT title and he was doing the Redeemer stuff. That was good, and then they just dropped it. And it's like, I want him back in WWE because I know Triple H will do something well with him.
He got injured, and then when they brought him back, they didn't have anything for him. It's that, we got nothing for you, blah, blah, blah. Which sucked because the Redeemer stuff was great. And it felt like when they brought in CJ Perry, they were working towards something really cool. Then those two were no longer together, and it all just kind of fell apart. I'd say the only big man that AEW has really booked well is Samoa Joe.
And that's because Samoa Joe is just Samoa Joe. That's it. You cannot book him back.
That up.
Yeah.
You can't fuck that up.
Yeah.
But
even Vince Russo couldn't.
They bring in a lot of these big guys, and they basically use them to get the smaller guys over. Lance Archer. Lance Archer was all over early AEW, and he wasn't winning shit. He was putting feuds to be a monster to just lose over and over and over again. Powerhouse Hobbs, we have an opportunity with him. Wardlow, same thing, but we're not really getting anywhere with these guys, right? We've been in kind of stall mode with them for a while. They do a little something to win a TNT title here or there, but then all that momentum goes away, and we're not building on it. We're not capitalizing on it. They have, we talked about Swerve, right?
Yeah.
Capitalized on Swerve. That was great. These other guys build momentum. We don't capitalize on it. MJF, they do. That brings me back to your point about Jade Cargill. WWE has the ability So like someone like Bianca Belair,
Mhm.
fantastic in the ring, one of the most athletic women ever, and has the personality, right? Like you said,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the blueprint.
Yeah.
But if Jade wasn't, WWE and their style of wrestling production can still make a star out of someone who's not as gifted in the ring.
Yeah.
You look at your Hulk Hogan's, we love John Cena. John Cena
Yeah.
had his 5 moves of doom era. He didn't need to be the greatest in-ring wrestler. They can take someone with the look. Yep.
Yeah.
You got the look. You've got enough personality. We can market you. We can book you. We can put you in.
Yep.
People like Ronda Rousey failed because they didn't have the personality, and now they want to talk a lot of shit.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the thing.
Yep.
Your personality in WWE is far more important than your in-ring work, whereas in AEW, I guess your in-ring work is far more important than your promos and your personality for that fan base.
Yeah.
Which is
Yep.
why that fan base doesn't resonate with me. What?
Mercedes. Case in point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or like a guy like, and I know you guys talked about, but like a guy like Ricochet, that's a guy I'd say like I'd rather see him go to AEW because for what he's best at, he's going to be appreciated more on AEW because he'll never have that personality that's a WWE huge personality. Yeah, sure, he'll put on an amazing match in the mid card with WWE or whatever, but he could be challenging Swerve or Osprey, for the title on AEW, and the fans would be going ballistic for him, that kind of thing.
Ricochet is a Shelton Benjamin.
Yeah.
He is an amazing in-ring talent who will give you a highlight reel of shit, but he does not have the personality to put him at that next level for the WWE product.
Yeah, exactly.
If you had taken Shelton Benjamin in his prime and sent him over to TNA and put him in the X division or just in TNA with what they were doing with AJ Styles and stuff, like he could have been a star over in TNA.
Exactly.
Like you said, Ricochet, same thing. Like Ricochet over there with Ali and that whole X division, would blow the fuck up on the internet darling.
Yeah.
AEW, same thing, can put on amazing matches against Ricochet versus Will Ospreay. Who the fuck doesn't want to see that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, people have seen that.
Really?
Well, yeah, that's true.
Years ago, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Before I really signed
like me wouldn't want to see that.
Trade Ricochet for Will Hobbs, exchange them, and again, WWE will take Hobbs and turn him into this megastar, right? Because he's got the look they want, and he does have personality, and he would do fantastic over there, right? It's just place and parts,
I know Vince wants to do another draft. I think I'm going to discuss with him instead of doing our traditional draft if he wants me to be a part of it again. Us being a war room and drafting who we think would be better off in WWE from AEW and who would be better off in AEW and or TNA from WWE, as opposed to like I'm Raw, he's NXT, Katie's SmackDown like we normally do.
That's a good
I think
idea.
that would be a more fun, because we've been pushing him to like, I was like, yeah, well, we can do the WWE draft, but there are people that I want from AEW that I'd like on my roster. So
I mean, we had
how
to
many
like
of those can we get?
Beg to be able to take a person from AEW last time.
I think that'd be a more fun draft episode. And like you said, there's a lot of talent out there where it's like, yeah, or you got those free agents. Where do we want to put those free agents? So
yeah, it's certain people you can just see with them that like they fit better in a different spot. Like, and I know everybody will go ballistic if you say it, but MJF's a perfect example. The whole thing with MJF is like he's just on the mic. He needs somebody now on the mic that can keep up, not just keep up with him, but challenge him, right? Nobody in AEW is going to be able to do that with him. But there's some people in WWE that can do that with him. But when his whole run started to slide was when he started trying to get into like being the baby face and doing the 5-star matches and all this. No, I don't need to see MJF in a match. He was prior to that when he was on the microphone and hardly wrestling at all. That's when he felt special. That's when he was an attraction. As soon as he gets in the ring and starts doing the same thing that 40 guys in their roster can do better, I don't need to see that. I want to see him do better at what he does better, and that's the mic. So in WWE, same thing, right? He'd be a star there, yeah. So, but yeah,
And I said, now that I think about it, it probably wouldn't have worked out so well, and he's probably better off in the position he's at. But I was saying early AEW, I wanted to see Hangman go to NXT because with what they were doing with Black and Gold NXT, I thought Hangman would be a star over there. They could really capitalize on him in a way that AEW wasn't. But now seeing where Hangman is and who he is in AEW, I feel like on the WWE roster outside of NXT getting called up to the main roster, he'd just be another guy in the mid card. He's a top star over there, so maybe keeping him over there wasn't a terrible idea.
Yeah, I hear you. Listen, guys, I'm gonna head out because it's
we're gonna end this. Yep.
Yeah, it's 2022 here.
Again, man, I appreciate you coming on. I had a blast.
No problem.
Thank you. Everyone that's still watching, thank you guys for hanging out with us and watching us. You guys heard all the links and all that stuff, so go check out everything from both Katie and BC Hunter over there at Wrestling with the Truth and Wrestling with the 80s. Have a good night.
Thanks, guys.